2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Yo, what's the deal, Panther fans? It's your boy, Tony Dunn, a.k.a. The Professor. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast, and we're going into our 9th season. That's right. The longest running Panthers podcast around. We don't miss a week. We don't miss a beat. And even if Teddy Bridgewater is our quarterback, we still going to be doing this show on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Boy, tonight's show is going to be fun. Bucs become champs as Panthers try to avoid becoming chumps. I should have my friend Gene Thomas celebrating his victory lap on tonight. But you know we got the homeboys in the house. Cody, Lashney, take your mic off mute and get up in here. What's up, Cody?
Tony, what's up, brother? Look, man, it's another Tuesday night. We're all here. We're ready to go. We're ready to talk about the Panthers. And we all made our Super Bowl prediction. But only one of us is going to gloat like an arrogant asshole tonight, baby. And that's your favorite shit-talking cripple Panther fan. And you know what? I'm going to do it with all my homeboys and homegirls in the YouTube chat, the best Panther fans in all of YouTube. You know we got the crew in town. We got 10 Tizzy, Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel, Lynn Leonhardt. Welcome back. It's been a long time since we've seen you. Hope you're well. Lance Kubiak, Charles Weeby, T. Diggs, Tony Dunn. Ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The Man of Many Podcast, Greg the Bat Daddy's in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. 2020 season is over now. That's the last lingering thing I think for me about 2020. It's done. It's over. I'm ready to start talking my draft.
It's not over. Sadly, this sucker is not over. 2020 will never end. And I don't think it's ever going to end for the Panthers at this point, the way I be seeing things. CK, the man of many streams, the gamer of all gamers. What's up, brother? Oh,
no
mic.
I got you. It's on me. That's on me. That's on me. Just getting off work, coming in here a little bit late. My apologies, guys. Just happy to be able to move past the physical NFL season of 2020 and start looking towards the future. And hopefully we'll see what that looks like.
Guys, I start the new season every year. This is episode 1 of this year. So this is 21.1 if we were going to keep count. So look, we've done this now for 7.5 seasons. We did 8, but I came in a little late in 2013. We just said we got to start this sucker, right? But we haven't stopped since 2013. This is the 9th season of the C3 Panthers podcast. We really have appreciated all the support. People call in at 252-228-5098. You know how to get in the show, chat up the latest Panthers news and opinions. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share all of that jazz. the Buccaneers have become champs, as the Panthers are trying to avoid becoming chumps. Let me bring my man up in here for his victory lap. Oh my goodness, Gene Thomas. Buc What Ya Heard in the house. How does it feel to be a champion?
Man, I it feels like a dream right now. I mean, you know me. We've gone back to the beginning of this show when it was you and Joe.
Yep.
And I can remember that no-win season, and I came on every week and we talked about the NFC South. Bucs did not win a game that season, and I religiously came on and we talked. And the one thing that I will always remember is how respectful you guys were, despite what this team was doing. And I just want you to know I do appreciate that, and I appreciate all the support that I've gotten through you guys over the years. And I know I'll probably get roasted for this, but I'm hoping that you guys get that ring before Atlanta does. If I can say that.
Oh yeah.
If I can say that.
You could totally say that. We were saying that about. We've been saying that about the Bucs.
Honestly, it's funny. I know that the New Orleans Saints are your fiercest rivals, and these guys are jumping out the window. I mean, I need to set up some kind of chat line for these guys to kind of talk them down and get them calm and get them ready for next year, because I've never seen any. I mean, Chiefs fans were triggered, but Saints fans have been like 10 times more triggered than Chiefs fans. I don't get it.
I don't either, man. Gene, I don't know if you even remember this, but I tagged you on Super Bowl night, and I said, "Hey, bro, I'm pulling for you, dog." Everyone was trying to say, like, or a lot of Panther fans on Twitter were like, "Oh, you can't pull for the division rival."
Bro,
like,
I pull for you guys. There are games where I'm like, I want Carolina to win this game.
I have never had one hurt feeling, one bit of like animosity toward the Buccaneers. It doesn't personally exist for me. I'm happy for you. I got a bunch of questions for you. I know we all do, but man, that's gotta feel good, man.
It does, and and I know in the grand scheme of things, it's a good representation for the NFC South. I know that the NFC South has been getting they've been talking trash on us, like the NFC South is overrated, but again, here we are, and we always have a dog in the race somewhere.
True that.
Y'all put the smackdown on the Chiefs 31-9. This team, the Bucs just got better throughout the season.
Yeah.
Right. They got better throughout the season. They got the defense got better on the back end. You saw a secondary playing much better, but you did go against a somewhat hobbled Chiefs team.
Right.
Right. That was sort of an advantage in that light. But everybody showed up to play. The defense, and you can't have excuses at that point in the Super Bowl. In
the Bucs defense here, you have to go out and play the game that's in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times when you talk about poor coaching, you're talking about poor quarterback play, just all the stuff that the Bucs have dealt with. The Bucs have had multiple opportunities throughout this past decade to control their own destiny, and they failed to do it. They've not found a way to win. They've just pretty much. I mean, let's take 2016 for instance. The Buccaneers had a chance to go to the playoffs. It didn't happen. It just didn't happen because they controlled their destiny and they didn't do what they needed to do. But just this season alone just felt different. After the bye, the Bucs controlled their own destiny, and they just had to win out. They win and they won out. And just after that, it was just every game, they went out and did what they had to do. So it just felt different. This season felt totally different than I would say any of the past 12 seasons.
Gene, that was actually going to be a part of my question to you. And I knew you were going to come on tonight, and I was thinking about this for a while. And I'm even afraid I don't even have the right words. Like, I might mess up this question. I'm going to try my best. But what kind of feeling do you have, for example, like us on the Panthers? We have players that we've drafted that we have seen grow and build, and they've become household names for us.
Right.
Brian Burns, Christian McCaffrey,
Yes.
Jeremy Chin over the course of one fantastic rookie season.
Amazing season.
Now, with that said, every single player that scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl for y'all wasn't a Tampa Bay Buccaneer even last year. Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, even Ryan Suckup, I do believe, wasn't on the team last year. So, what feel do you have right now that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers became a destination for some of the best players in football? Your entire life, Tom Brady has been a part of the evil empire up in New England.
When they played Atlanta and the 20.
Right. But now, I mean, he is a part of Tampa Bay Buccaneers history, man.
Yep.
How do you rectify all those things and how your fandom reacts with all of it?
I have to go back to 2002. And if you look at free agency, you look at who Rich McKay brought in the offseason for John Gruden, Keenan McCardle, Joe Jurevicius, players like that played an integral part in Tampa getting to the Super Bowl back then. Michael Pittman. Right. These are guys that were not drafted, and they were brought in. Simeon Rice, I know Simeon Rice was a few years removed from that, but still, these are players that you've brought in that were an integral part of this team winning. And it's kind of the same thing, to be honest. I mean, when you look at what Rich McKay did and you look at what Jason Light did, Rich McKay, you had Sam Weish. You went from Sam Weish to Tony Dungy. You went from Tony Dungy to John Gruden. Jason Light, Lovie Smith. You go from Lovie Smith to that idiot Dirk Cutter. And then you go to you end up with Bruce Arians. It's just it's eerily similar the way these things happen. I mean, you look at Tampa back in 2002, they shut down the dump in Philadelphia. And then you send Drew Brees into retirement with that win in the dump in Louisiana. So it's kind of similar, the things that went on.
Hey, Gene, I got a question for you. Congratulations, by the way.
I love that hat.
Oh, thank you.
I shop there. I actually do shop there. But go ahead.
Great stuff. How do you feel about the future? Like, do you feel like players like Barrett and David have played themselves out of what you guys can pay them? You got a lot of free agents coming up next year, as far as I understand it. And I don't know what wide receivers you're going to go with, but I don't feel like you can keep all the wide receivers you have on there. I think some of them are going to expect some money. So how do you feel in the future with this team, or what they're going to look like next year compared to this year?
What's been really intriguing is listening to Mike Evans. Mike Evans wants to take pay cuts. Tom Brady may consider doing something just to keep all these people in place. If you follow me on Twitter, you see I'm saying pay Shaq Barrett. Pay Shaq Barrett. You got to bring this man back.
Yeah.
The Bucs have not had anybody like this since Michael Bennett was here. And
will they? Question from Blake Bettis: will they resign him?
I believe they will. 100%. I believe they will. If you followed what Shaq Barrett has been saying, he wants to come back to Tampa. Tampa is his home. Tampa was the first team that gave him the opportunity. I mean, he's playing behind two future Hall of Famers in Denver, and then he gets the opportunity to show what he can do. And I know there were a lot of people that looked down on what he did this season, but if you looked at what Shaq Barrett did away from the football, away from the camera, he was an integral part of this defense being successful, and bringing Vita Vea back just opened up the floodgates for him to do what he was doing the year before.
I'm gonna, here. This was one of the most satisfying Super Bowls for me, right? On a lot of different levels. Number one, Tom Brady now has more Super Bowl rings than the New England Patriots. And now he's forever going to be known as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Super Bowl champion, and a Patriot. Just that they can't hold claim to him. They obviously have the majority. Yeah. And then now on top of that, it took Mahomes out of the race, really, essentially, with being able to even match that. Because if that was and you heard Tony Romo talking about it, if that was a win by Mahomes, it's a 6-2 ratio, right? Now it's a 7-1. He has to win 6 more, which is going to be hard for anybody to do. Now Mahomes, I imagine he's gonna have a few more. Don't get me wrong, but that side is satisfying. But all in all, number one, the way that Tom Brady was talking shit to Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, and then there at the end when Winfield went up to with Tyreek Hill and this pissed me off the entire time. By the way, like Tony Romo was so badly sucking the dick of Mahomes and the Chiefs the entire time. Like everything that was going wrong, like it was ridiculous. And then there at the end, he was like, "You can't taunt him. You can't taunt him." That is freaking Tyreek Hill's MO, bro.
That's his calling card right there. When he smokes a defensive back, it's deuces, baby.
Yeah,
and that's what he throws the two fingers up.
Exactly. And so I don't feel bad about that. Honestly, I was so happy that somebody did it because like the reality is, yeah, he went up to him and did it in his face. But that's exactly what Tyreek Hill does when he's walking past somebody, you know, and that is the extent of it.
Well, the only reason it was a taunting is because he got in the face, like it was close.
But what I mean is Tony Romo's mindset about it was like, oh, you're kicking a man while he's down. I don't get that.
You should be, man. Didn't you feel sorry? Didn't you feel sorry for Mahomes, when you saw Mike Remmers was playing left tackle?
No, dude. No.
I felt so sorry.
Cody, what did you say about Mike Remmers?
Bro, listen, Mike Remmers is the curse that keeps on giving. Okay, I'm pretty sure that Von Miller is the father of Mike Remmers' child that you had right after Super Bowl 50, okay?
Yeah, that's the truth,
Mike Remmers, and listen, Gene, I got it close, and the guys knew I was going to do this. I don't care if I'm insufferable. It was coming. I was the only one to pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody else picked the Kansas City Chiefs, and the reason I picked them, I said offensive line matters. I have seen Mike Remmers get his ass kicked on the biggest stage in the Super Bowl before, and I knew damn well it was going to happen again when Jason Pierre-Paul fucking had his way with him, man. I knew that it was coming. It didn't let Patrick Mahomes set his feet and throw the football. I actually did think that Mahomes played well, but dude,
get off your high horse. Get off your glow horse, Cody. Get off of it because he's leaving out all of the commentary that surrounded our picks. But at the end of the day, I tell you this is I don't even care what y'all say about Mahomes. That dude.
Did you see insane. That? You remember? Does you guys remember the what was it? Madden, not Madden, but NCAA football when the guy was like contorted backwards and he threw the ball.
Those are the balls. Yeah, and they were every time they were in the arms of the receiver.
It hit Tyreek Hill in the face mask. Face mask. Yeah.
The one that was the craziest to me was the one where he runs all over. He's getting tackled and then
he jumps and he's parallel.
He was spun around and it looked like he just was trying to like throw it away.
And it somehow
throws it to the back pylon and the dude's like, oh, and you're like, holy, that is not supposed to happen. A guy was telling me this is the most insane stat that Patrick Mahomes ran 500 yards in that game.
497 yards. Yes, sir.
Yep, it's crazy. Just they happen to be backwards and parallel.
Sideline to sideline, baby.
Oh my goodness.
You know what's interesting, and I do want to say this. I hopefully I do have the floor to say this, but I've been getting roasted by Chiefs fans for the past 2 weeks. I'm
just so happy, dude.
On Instagram, on just Twitter, where guys were saying, "Oh, the Bucs are going to lose by 30."
Oh,
they don't have a defense. And the problem was these guys watched the game in the regular season. And I went on somebody's show on a Chiefs fan show, and I was like, "Listen, guys, this is the Super Bowl. You have to put aside the playoffs, how anybody played in the playoffs. You have to put aside how they played in the regular season." And I said, "Do you know who Vita Vea is?" No, but I'm sure that the offensive line will be able to handle him. And Vita Vea was eating double teams like candy.
I know, man. There was so many plays like he just ran. These guys were like unblocked ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was bad.
They
Were
unblocked. I have a question because we, as the Panthers, are amidst a rebuild or a retool build.
You got Joe Brady, man. Be happy.
No. Oh, well, maybe.
Yes, we should be happy.
I love Joe Brady. Joe Brady's the real deal. Trust me.
We'll see if when
yeah.
this Teddy stuff comes alive.
Gene, they'll love him more once we get a
may not even be Teddy. If you get, and this is the thing, remember from Buccaneers, you remember we've dealt with so many different coaches. Raheem Morris, Greg Schiano, Lovie Smith, Dirk Cutter, and finally getting to Bruce Arians. You have to have that right coach and the right GM. I love Joe Brady. I would hate to see you guys lose Joe Brady. I think he was instrumental in Carolina hanging in that game with Kansas City, and that game the Panthers should have won that game.
We should have won
a lot of them.
We should have won 8 different games.
I got a question though.
Had it not been execution, I think Carolina wins that game against Kansas City.
Would you rather be a team though that was competitive year in, year out, making the playoffs but doesn't get the chip? Or how do you feel about this? How tough was it on you, I guess, as a fan, to have this 20-year drought? Because right now the Panthers, we're in a drought for 3 years, right? We're in a 3-year drought. But we've had some moments where it hasn't seemed hopeless. But I'm just trying to figure out this is like, would I rather have my team win a Super Bowl every 20 years in the way you guys did it, where you tool up with free agents and you do this stuff? Or do you want a team that's more like the Titans right now that is just in there every year and maybe it falls your way?
It's so rewarding, actually. I'm happy to have that Super Bowl. There's no greater feeling than winning a Super Bowl, and I can't really explain it. I mean, just for the fan base, for your city, and fans all over the world that support your team. There's no other feeling like that than to win that. That's why when I look at what Tampa did, Tampa bet the farm with John Gruden and Keyshawn Johnson, that trade, those moves, and they pretty much gave up a lot, after winning that Super Bowl. I mean, you look at what Bruce Allen did with that team. I mean, you had a horrible GM, and then you turn around and got another horrible GM, and it took that long to get everything cycled out to get to where it is right now. I promise you guys, getting to the Super Bowl and winning it all, I mean, you guys know that feeling of getting to the Super Bowl, but getting over the hump is like nothing I can't really put a description on that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Cody, as you've watched this, Cody has been a guy who's like this. He's like, you got to get your young quarterback. You got to build around your quarterback, right? And to be honest, that's what everybody says, right?
Dude, we had Jameis Winston for 5 years. And Jameis Winston has every important passing record with the exception of yards in a season and touchdowns in a season. And I can tell you what, Jameis Winston, I would take Tom Brady. I would do this whole season over again and go past Jameis Winston. What he did were individual stats, but getting a Super Bowl is a team, what you would do for your...
Yeah, but until Tom Brady, it didn't matter. If you guys didn't have Tom Brady there and you had Jameis Winston, you wouldn't be there.
No,
if
100%.
you had,
no.
I'm trying to think of, I mean, if you had maybe 80% of the quarterbacks in the league, you probably wouldn't have been there. No. And Brady had a season. I don't know. Actually, how good was Brady's season this year? You tell me.
In my opinion, based on what we've seen from him, finding ways to win. That San Diego Chargers game, when you're down 17-0 and you run that 2-minute offense, I have never seen anybody run a 2-minute offense like Tom Brady. And I'm not saying that because he's the quarterback of the Buccaneers. I've seen Cam Newton run him. I've seen Matt Ryan run him. I've seen Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I've seen everybody run him, but just watching Tom Brady take command of
commands.
Team, just what he did and the way he did it was nothing short of incredible. No. And it just brings me back to what you were talking about. Your coach, your GM, and your quarterback are most important. I don't care. You can build in the trenches. I know games are won and lost in the trenches. That's not a cliche. But at the beginning, you have to have your GM, you have to have your coach, and your quarterback all in sync. That's the most important part in building this team moving forward.
And we feel like we have 2 out of those 3, man.
Yeah.
Cody, did the Bucs winning change or soften your position at all about how the Panthers could approach the future?
No, if anything, it just bolstered it. I mean, look at what the
what if you got like 10 offensive line picks, or like you just picked, and then 2 years from now we're getting Aaron Rodgers.
Well, yeah, but see, that's the thing. You're betting on things that you don't know. You're betting on, okay, maybe there's going to be a transcendent free agent quarterback that's going to come through in free agency. And
aren't you betting on things you don't know when you get a rookie quarterback?
Well, you're
have
betting
a little bit of knowledge on that.
You're betting on things that you don't know. But at the same time, like if you look at, both of the teams that were in the AFC Championship, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, they got aggressive in choosing to go get their quarterbacks. And when you have, Gene mentioned Joe Brady, and listen, we've had our ups and downs with Joe Brady this year, but ultimately it serves us the fact that he has come back and that he is not going to be a head coach somewhere, because it makes us a more attractive landing spot for, a lot of these young quarterbacks. And I think based on what we have seen, all the rumors about the Panthers being really aggressive in the free agent market with their quarterback, I think they're going to be aggressive in the draft, but and really try and move up and maybe even try and get ahead of Atlanta to make sure that we get our quarterback in front of them if they decide to go that direction. But to answer your question directly, I mean, listen, this is what I've said. When you have a quarterback that people know is a real baller with when the game is on the line and the ball is in his hands, you're going to trust him. Okay. Yeah. Everyone knows that that's what you have with Tom Brady, and people are willing to now go to wherever he is to play football. And that if the Panthers are able to find a franchise quarterback, that can happen to us. People will want to come and play for a young, dynamic football team with a franchise quarterback at the helm. How
did you jerks get so much talent this year?
They've always been.
It was a gluttony of riches, dude. It is a gluttony of riches.
They draft
well. Yeah, exactly. They always had talent.
No.
Listen, hold on. They have talent. But you guys had a great wide receiver core. You guys had a great defense. But then you drop Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, and Tom Brady on the team, and it's like a puzzle piece fitting in.
I know that's the fact that they added so many parts that you're not supposed to be able to add. They added Brady, $40 million. They added Antonio Brown on a damn $5 contract. Now that was luck. All right, I'll give you that. Gronkowski comes back, or you get him. But here, let's talk about this. Is JPP is an addition to this team. It's not just today. I mean, it wasn't yesterday that it happened, but is that there were, I don't know, like why can't we have that much talent? Like you looked at this, you looked at that damn.
It's being in the right place. It's the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
I really respect Jason Light. I've always respected Jason Light. You guys know this. I've had people that have told me, I'm going to stop listening to your stupid ass podcast because you will not go in on Jason Light. I want to see what his body of work is. At the end of the day, I cannot critique him based on what he does until I see, what the end result is. I mean, going out and getting JPP, you go out and get Shaq Barrett, a guy that's behind 2 future Hall of Famers. And, you decide, okay, this guy, he's wanting to come out into free agency. Let's get him and bring him in and see what he can do. But going back and watching a game film from preseason on this guy, I mean, you got to credit your scouting. You got to credit coaching.
Where did he come from? Was he from Denver?
Yeah,
Okay.
Denver.
Yeah.
Oh man, oh my goodness, this guy. I mean, just consider who was it? Where and who was the other guy? Who's on the other end?
Miller.
What Von Miller, and
Von
then
Miller,
they went
Von Miller and Where he was behind.
And they got that other kid. They got the Chubb.
Yeah, Bradley Chubb. So they were like, okay, let's bring him in, and he showcases his talent. I mean, he's going on record saying he wants Tampa to be his final destination. So, again, that comes back to your GM. We've had a horrible GM. When we all first linked up with Carolina Cat Chronicles, we had the guy who was an ex-swimmer, and this guy is your GM in Tampa. So, you can only go so far with what this clown is saying. Yeah. I mean, he sent Michael Bennett packing, if that gives you an idea. Aqib Talib got sent to New England. I mean, that's what the Bucs had to deal with. And to get a guy that knows the system, a guy that came from the New England product and came in and he was able to develop things. And, off of that Jason Light tree, you've got John Robinson over in Tennessee who came from Tampa. And that's your GM over there, and you see how they're playing. I mean, the Bucs were very fortunate to get what they've gotten. Bruce Arians comes in with a very diverse, a very large coaching staff, and they were able to identify pieces and players that would help this team get to the next level. And I think they've gone above and beyond showing that.
Who are y'all losing this year?
It's interesting. I don't know.
I mean, Godwin.
You don't get Fournette back, I don't think either.
I'm looking.
I think if anybody, it would probably be Leonard Fournette. But I've heard recently that Leonard Fournette wants to come back and run it back. So I don't know.
I mean, when you win, it's similar to, like, it's so interesting because that's one of the things we talk about. Number one, there's 2 points I want to make. The first is Tampa Bay is a perfect example of why a quarterback is the most important person on the team and why you are not going to get a Super Bowl without a quarterback unless you have just the best in everything else. Like, you could go back to Denver's win over us in 2015. Peyton Manning was there. Peyton Manning was not Peyton Manning. Like, they did not win that game because of Peyton Manning. But nonetheless, most of the time you're seeing these teams have quarterbacks that take them there. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, in the past, what is it? However many Super Bowls he had in the past 6 years. I mean, you've got to have a quarterback if you're going to get there. You can sit here and play the long game like you did with the 49ers, where they went in with Garoppolo, but you see what happened with that. It got them there. They didn't get over the hump. They didn't win. You saw Goff. That didn't get them there. They didn't get the win. You see all these people get there, but they didn't get the win because they don't have a quarterback that's going to elevate the team to that elite level. The other part is when you're on a winning squad, people want to stay there, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep that team together because they want to be a part of something that's considered great. Tom Brady has been known for doing this his entire career, which is taking a pay cut to ensure everybody else can actually stay on the team. Like, that's just the reality of it. And what's so funny about it is you'll see. I had seen one time Trey Boston had made a comment about something. He said, somebody said, how are the Eagles signing everybody they need to sign? How have they not had as much turnover as they could have had, being that they were a Super Bowl team just, how many years ago, right? How did they, and Trey Boston said, the cap is a fallacy. It's really, this is all just, it comes down to, if you have a GM who wants you to stay, they're going to find a way to help you stay. That's the bottom line. And so that's what Tampa's done. It's interesting to me. Tampa Bay in 10 years has been a very attractive destination for people for whatever reason. Deshaun Jackson, they came down here. Bruce Arians. I mean, even when
Reeves.
Yeah, it's no state taxes, dude. That's what it is.
And by the way, I did want to point something out here too, right? Because, we've talked before about how much one draft can do so much for your team.
Right.
Do me a favor, Gene. What were your first 2 picks in this year's draft? This past year's draft?
Tristan Wirfs and Antoine Winfield Jr.
And boy, did they not play a huge part in that Super Bowl championship, didn't they?
Yeah.
But for one, Tristan Wirfs, my God, out the gate, that dude might be.
He should have been offensive. He should have been offensive rookie of the year. Just the way
Justin was incredible too, but I'm telling you, that guy. Yeah, listen, I genuinely believe right now, if you're asking me today, the two best right tackles in the NFL play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. It's Tristan Wirfs and Taylor Moton. And
Taylor's amazing.
And the fact that we haven't signed him yet is an embarrassment.
What's the holdup on that? I mean,
he wants left tackle money, and I don't think number one, we have a new GM. I think.
But do we know that? Do we know that he wants left tackle money?
You know, he wants. If you think that he's the best,
and by the way, but by the way, in a day and age where we need every other offensive line position, is he not worth it? I would say he's more worth it than some of the other big contracts that we have right now.
Yeah, but you've also got to keep in mind, Cody, we have what's happened this offseason is we have a new GM. We have a lot of question marks about what we're doing in the draft anyway. So, I mean, there's right now, I think that there's a hope that he's signed. But, you know, you have a GM who's still assessing this entire squad. He doesn't know Moton. He can go back and look at all the film he wants, but he doesn't know Moton.
There's still some time. You know, you still have a whole month and a half.
Do you go after a free agent quarterback here? Or what? I mean, like, I'm looking. Deshaun Watson is available.
That's the dream.
I don't know that they're going to do.
I don't think
Houston's going to get rid of him.
That's the dream. I mean, it really messed us up that we didn't have the third pick in the draft instead of the eighth pick like we have now. But listen, man, I've been saying I really don't care too much how many picks you have to give up. Dude, that's Deshaun Watson. Like, I know you might not know this because obviously you don't follow the Panthers like we do, but
I do. I follow you guys. Trust me.
Teddy Bridgewater had the ball in his hand in the final drive of the game with a chance to win 8 different times.
Out of the 10 losses that we had, yeah. And
8 different times he failed. So it's he
kind of made me eat my words. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean, I understand.
You made me eat my words a little bit too, because I said that when New Orleans let him go, when they didn't pay him, I said that was the biggest mistake they ever made.
This year was the best statistical career in Teddy Bridgewater's history, and he only threw 1 more touchdown. He threw 15 touchdowns this year. That's the most he has ever thrown by 1.
And can we also talk about the fact that it's exactly what Gene was talking about? He has individual stats this year. That's it. That's all he has is he has a high completion percentage because guess what? That's all he cared about. He wanted to get the ball to the receiver's hands because if he got the ball in their hands, they can make something happen and make him look good.
His job was done.
You know, guys, I've been where Carolina is, and I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's just in you guys know. I've been on here and I've been where you guys are, where your quarterback's not doing what you think he's capable of doing. I'm done with all the individual stats. The fact that the Bucs only had 1 person going to a Pro Bowl, no all pros. You know what? I'm glad that, it ended up the way it did. I would take the Super Bowl, a team trophy, over the individual stats of all pro, whatever.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's kind of where your mindset as a Carolina Panther fan has to be. You have to want the best quarterback that you can get out there that's going to help your team, that's going to help everybody around you be better. And then that's where you can bring in your wide receiver, your tight end. And, once you kind of built this up, I don't know what you guys consider the strength of your team, but I would probably have to say it's on the offensive side of the ball. Based on what your defense did last year, I think that, you build on one side or you build on the other, or you balance it out, I guess would be, kind of what you have to do. But I'm sorry. I love Joe Brady. I don't know why I do, but when I hear his name, when I watch him, when I go back and watch all 22 and watch what plays he dials up and I look for execution and that kind of thing, I think he's a good offensive coordinator. I think you've got a good building block there. It's just building off of that to get to the next level.
Yeah, and a lot of fans were kind of hard on Joe Brady this year. But then when you go back and look at how many times DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel would be wide open down the field, and then Teddy Bridgewater either wouldn't see it or just refused to trust his arm enough to make the throw. It was honestly embarrassing.
But again, these guys catch these balls. These guys make these runs and get these first downs, extend these drives.
Yeah.
Joe Brady looks like a genius. If the players are going out,
he looked fine this year. He looked fine this year. He was he got a lot of looks at head coach because of that. I think this is he looked, he did a lot with what he had. You can wonder about too how the Panthers offensive line played pretty darn well this season, and we'd have to really get in there. We'd have to get in there and see, like, if
Greg, you can't say anything, Greg. Nothing at all.
We'll talk. We would need to ask Rule how much the scheme helped the offensive lines, different things like that. But
seriously, guys.
And one other thing and another accolade too for Joe Brady is that first time OC in a unconventional year, where he had to do this by Zoom and this and that, and that's OT. We're happy with that. I just, I don't know. You asked the hardest question is you build on our strength. Nobody even knows what that is. Like, we got a couple of cool wide receivers. We got Christian McCaffrey, and that's it.
Can I ask one question since we're talking about Joe Brady?
Fine.
How come whenever there's missed tackles or a defensive back blows coverage because he doesn't read the play right or something like that, we blame that on coaching, but whenever a quarterback doesn't see a receiver open downfield, we don't blame that on Joe Brady or coaching?
Because we can see the quarterback should be able to do that.
But shouldn't a professional NFL player be able to make a tackle?
100%.
That's what I'm saying. So why are we blaming?
Nobody blames I don't think we blame the coaches.
Oh my goodness, we tortured Ron Rivera for missed tackles.
Yeah,
and
but
all
Joe
kinds
Brady
of
is not. But you can't blame Joe Brady for the throw that Teddy Bridgewater didn't decide to throw.
But you can't blame Ron Rivera for the arm tackle that he half-assed and didn't make. I mean, come on, man.
Greg's point's not invalid. Greg's point's not invalid.
Tackling is also a fundamental part of almost every single position.
And as an NFL quarterback, seeing the ball downfield and going through your progressions is a fundamental part of being an NFL quarterback.
You're mad at whoever bought Teddy Bridgewater here, and that was Marty Herney.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Again,
so how do you guys? Do you guys give? I guess he's got another year. He's coming back. What's next? Are you guys looking at quarterbacks in the off season? Yes. What have you guys heard? Are you looking in the draft? It's something you can move up.
Our organization has all but said that Teddy Bridgewater isn't the answer,
and they've aggressively moves for Stafford.
100% shown that he's not the answer. And but I think a lot of the blame too kind of goes back to wide receivers, because there have been times where the ball has been here and they haven't made that catch. There were games in the Buccaneers game where I'm like, man, I feel bad for Teddy Bridgewater because his wide receivers didn't do him any favors.
Oh, nobody feels bad for Teddy Bridgewater.
So listen, can I give you guys a sneak preview of my write-up for Draft Tech tomorrow? This is just the first little paragraph. The Carolina Panthers are like that girl at the party who really wishes she was there with another guy except her actual boyfriend. That party being NFL free agency, and that boyfriend being ultra lame quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Not only have the owner and GM found ways to steadily sneak diss Bridgewater in press conferences, but now the cat has been let out the bag that the Panthers will do just about anything to offload Bridgewater and his terrible contract, including, but not limited to, trading the 8th overall pick and Teddy Bridgewater's contract in a botched attempt to trade for Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford. And yes, Gene, that really did happen. We were in the midst of trying to get physicals from Detroit, because we thought Matthew Stafford was on his way to Carolina. we were going all in on Matthew Stafford until the Rams came and swept
just
them out from under us.
Yeah.
And by the way, Matthew Stafford didn't want to come here, and I don't blame him.
Rams did you a favor, bro.
Hey man, I don't think there's much of a difference between the Panthers and the Lions roster right now. If there is, it's marginal to me. And
you really don't think so?
I really don't.
I like your defense. I like your defense way better than Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit
I do too. But what I'm saying, the only point that I'm trying to make is that the Rams have a chance to be a Super Bowl contender with Matthew Stafford next year. The Panthers did not have a chance to be a Super Bowl contender with Matthew Stafford. And that's the point. Like that, and we would have given up the 8th overall pick for Matthew Stafford. I wasn't a fan of the move. But to answer your question, yeah, our new GM said the Panthers will be in on every deal that there is to be had. We're going to be inquiring. So we're probably some of the teams looking at Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold, to be honest.
Can I tell you that 100% after seeing what the Bucs did, do you think that Gettleman is not about to sell the farm to go out and get a quarterback? I'm telling you right now, he is. He saw that it took literally, they had built a team that was good.
They had Daniel Jones.
I'm not, I mean, Gettleman.
Jones get turf monster, man.
Forgive me. I meant Tepper. My apologies. I was just thinking about Gettleman for a second there. But Tepper is going to sell the farm to go after a quarterback. Like with no question.
You have to make sure it's right. I mean, when I look at Matthew Stafford, with all the injuries he had early in his career, the fact that he just was not able to get over that hump he didn't make people better around him. I mean, yeah, it would have been nice because you guys would have been in the playoff hunt. But it would have been, I would have rather had Cam Newton back here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Most Panther fans would have preferred to have Cam.
I would have said Cam Newton back
to this podcast.
Stafford. Just because I promise you, Stafford's either going to get injured, he's going to throw an interception in the playoffs. This is not the guy that's going to lead a team to the Super Bowl. Trust and believe when I tell you that.
Yeah. Hey, I'm saying I want Wilson or Walker.
There you go.
Wilson or Watson?
Wilson or Watson, excuse me.
Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute.
Watson.
Wait, is there a quarterback named Walker I haven't heard of?
Wilson or
Luke Skywalker.
The 2 Live crew.
All right, let's see. Gene, is Levante David going to be on this team next year?
Yes.
I think he's a free agent, dude. How are you guys going to pay all these moves?
Yeah, you guys have 30 free agents and $38 million in cap space.
That's insane.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Levante David, if anybody left, and I know that I've been getting a lot of slander for saying this, it would probably be Chris Godwin.
I was going to say, I think Godwin's going to go.
Yeah, man, he wants some money, and he's good, dude.
But you really don't need him, though, do you? I mean, I'm not saying anything like Godwin is incredible, but there's always a ton of receivers coming out in the draft.
Tyler Johnson was drafted this year, well, the beginning of this year.
Is that the one that made that catch?
Yes,
that crazy catch. Yeah,
that's the guy. This is a guy that's just slowly but surely coming on Tom Brady's radar, and I expect him to be here. Another guy, and you can quote me on, you might quote me on, we're on video. I think OJ Howard may go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could see a scenario where we make a push for him.
I would love to get OJ Howard.
You'll still have Cameron Brate on your team.
Cameron Brate,
right?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so look,
Brate is a Brady favorite.
All right, so let me ask you this. Like, I mean, Gronk is going to want to come back with Tom. Maybe the best question for you is this. Like, out of all of the players that are set to hit free agency, who are the priorities? Who do the Buccaneers absolutely have to have back next year? Obviously, Tom Brady withholding.
Yeah, of course. I would have to say Levante David would be one. Mm-hmm. Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett would be another one. They have to find a way to get Shaq Barrett signed and bring him back.
You don't think Shaq Barrett's chasing the money? This I mean, because he's coming to a point in his career where, like, I think money becomes more important than winning.
He's got one more big contract.
I just if you read what he said, he loves Tampa. He loves the area. Yeah. He loves the fact that Tampa gave him the opportunity to be as good as he is.
Right.
And he's playing next to Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea, who a lot of people in Kansas City didn't know until after the Super Bowl. They figured out who that guy was. But realistically, I think that those are the guys. Levante David is a must. You have to sign.
Yeah, Levante David, 100%.
Suh is a free agent.
He is a leader on that defense.
So I have a question. When you said Levante David, is it so? For a while we had Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. Is part of wanting Levante David back? I mean, of course, he's an incredible football player, but is it also that tandem that he creates with Devin White that just makes that linebacker core just one step nastier than it would be without him?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the when Devin White was out with the COVID, which was he was being irresponsible. I'll up front and say that. And when he came back, he played with a fire that I have not seen from him. I expected to see from him early on in the season, but I didn't see from him after the bye. He's been on fire, just up to this point. I mean, they go well together. But Levante David is Tampa. I mean, when you hear the name Levante David, you automatically think of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would be shocked if Levante David did not come back as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. No. The only person, and I've been questioned about this on Bucs Twitter, I've said that I could see Chris Godwin going to another team.
Yeah,
I really could. But a lot of people are like, oh, no, he's going to find a way to re-sign with Tampa, or they're going to franchise him. I mean, when you look at Mike Evans, you've got Antonio Brown, who's going to come back. I'm convinced he's going to come back to Tampa, just based on the opportunities that he's had. The odd man out for me is probably going to be Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to mention Chris Godwin. I was going to mention either him or Brown, because I think Brown is in a similar situation that Cam was, this year as well, where he was on a prove it type of I'm playing to try to show that I still can do this in this league. And I don't think he played to the same level that obviously you've seen him play in the past.
Yeah, with that knee injury, that really affected him from that Green Bay game to the Super Bowl. That really affected him.
But I think his stock rose, right? Yeah. I don't think Cam Newton's stock didn't raise this year, right? Cam Newton's stock did not raise. He might. The problem is he might get a backup position somewhere, and I hate to say that.
You look at the quality of talent around Cam Newton in New England. Yeah. That's what Tom Brady had to deal with.
Right. Yeah. And he was worse. And I think, I don't think Antonio Brown's going to have anywhere else to go, but
he can't.
But I just think everybody, unless you're putting him on the Packers, he needs, he's just not going to be able to thrive emotionally and mentally without somebody like Tom Brady who can keep him in check.
Well, they pushed back his hearing and his suspension for this season. Why, I don't know, but he still has that lingering over him.
Tom Brady,
I'm sure, but he still has that lingering over him. So no other team's going to look at Antonio Brown right now, because he may not be able to play again after the hearing.
When you look at the locker room, I mean, he was very integral in the locker room this year. You would never even think that about Antonio Brown. I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, and I'm not
he
saying
always does this. He always does this. He tries to trick y'all. He tried to trick y'all that he ain't crazy no more, and then he's gonna come out and he's gonna beat somebody up.
I stand by what I said. When Vontaze Burfict hit him, he was never the same.
Yeah, I think he's got CTE. Dude.
Yeah,
true.
What about Suh? What about Suh? Because he's going to be a free agent. Y'all gave him 8 this year, and if y'all got 38 to pass around, you got to sign Barrett, David.
Yeah. But can I just say how crazy it is?
Suh made his money already too.
How many times y'all would line up Ndamukong Suh as an edge rusher? Y'all would straight up put homeboy on the end of the fucking line.
They had Vita Vea lined up as an edge rusher in the Super Bowl.
Bro, y'all, who's your the defensive coordinator? Todd Bowles, right?
Todd Bowles, yeah.
Bro, Todd Bowles is the man, man. He was doing some good things with y'all's defense this year, man.
I would trade Teddy Bridgewater for a half-eaten
Star Crunch. I was just actually, we were talking about old snacks on the radio on this radio show, and Star Crunch was mine.
Bro,
that I remembered.
Club, man, I'd get me a Star Crunch, man.
Jumping to the whatchamacallit candy bars. Oh.
Put you
Thanks,
right where
Nick. Thanks, Nick, for the $4.99 love bomb. Welcome to the show. Let's see. Any last questions for Gene before we push on to the cat calls and stuff?
If I could, real quick, I want to thank you guys for having me on. It means a lot every time I get invited on the show. Man. I love you guys. I love what you do. On every Wednesday morning, I listen to the show. Cat Chronicles is in my rotation.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, and look, I'm happy for you as a football fan. I would, is that like we've always said, the Bucs are the team that we least dislike, just like the Panthers are the ones that you least dislike. If you guys reel off, if Tom Brady wins 3 Super Bowls in a row there, we might not like y'all as much no more. But at the same time as this is, I am happy for football fans to get to experience, or for fans to experience joy.
In your own stadium.
The other part that was so satisfying about this, by the way, is now Tampa has more rings than New Orleans.
That is true. I didn't even think about that.
There we go.
Jumping out
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And more than the Falcons still.
Now the Panthers don't have any. The Buccaneers beat New Orleans to 2. Now the Panthers just got to beat the fucking Falcons to 1. We got to do our part. Now it's our turn, man. We got to make it back.
The thing that's so crazy.
Beat the Falcons.
Think about how crappy it is to be a New Orleans Saint. They have had the best team in the NFC South for 5 years now?
In the NFC.
They've had it for a decade.
Bro, you can say they've been the best team in the NFC for 3 years.
For 3 years. Mm-hmm. And they still haven't done it.
And
then Tom Brady comes in and they have this all-star team, and then the Bucs decide to go and win the Super Bowl in one season of making it. How long has it been since you guys went to the playoffs?
07.
They haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years, and then all of a sudden, 1 year of things working their way. They decide they went and get how gutted you must be to be a Saint fan.
You know what makes this even better is Karen Jordan at the beginning of the season.
Oh my God.
Talking about Drew Brees being the GOAT and totally being dismissive and listening to Karen Jordan now talking about, well, I don't want to be the Queen of the South anymore. We got to win a Super Bowl. You know what? The Queen of the South is a sitcom on USA Network. So that position is taken, guys. You guys got to figure it out.
I'm sorry that Drew Brees walking out that door. The problem is that team is going to be irrelevant for the next 5 years.
It's going to be tough until you get your quarterback. And I've been saying that Tom Brady is the greatest, for years, because, and look, people will be like, oh, it's Peyton. But the winning has something to do with it, right? And not only has he just won, he's been integral to the winning. But now, at this age, with this many Super Bowl appearances, this many rings, it is unreal. It's unreal. In fact, I guess Mahomes is the only person that has a chance at this point to catch him, and that's going to take a mega run. Yeah,
realistically, anybody does, but remember, Tom Brady did have a 5 or 6 year span where he didn't go to the Super Bowl. He won had a few year span where he didn't even go, and then he.
I know, but he's got more Super Bowl rings.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
he has more Super Bowl rings than any other quarterback has Super Bowl appearance.
Franchise.
Mm-hmm. Than either franchise. Yeah, exactly. He has more than anybody. Tom Brady.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. It's crazy. All right, Gene. Man, we appreciate you hanging out, dude. Tell them where they can find your work.
All right, you could reach me at Buc What You Heard. I love football, and football to me is a microcosm of the world, to be honest. And I'm always welcoming whoever you are. I was talking with somebody with Bills Mafia today. So I love talking football. I won't disrespect you. As long as you come with me with respect, I follow people all the time on Twitter. So at Buc What You Heard, you follow me, I will follow you back.
Shout out,
All right,
Hey,
man.
the chat room loves you, man. Everyone says they're not Bucs fans, but they're a fan of Gene. So
I appreciate you guys. Come in. Hey, come and subscribe. Come on over. Come on. So
Man, we always go. We always check up on everybody, and we've all learned that the way to learn about a team is to follow the people that follow it the closest. Gene's been doing this as long as we have. I mean, he's been coming on our show and vice versa. Gene, this is the start of our 9th season, dude, today.
Yeah, I had done a couple of years on a different platform and came over to YouTube, found you guys, and we've been rolling ever since.
It's crazy.
Southbound,
you know what? Now I got this StreamYard joint, and it's a little less work on me.
I love StreamYard. Shout out to StreamYard.
Yeah.
Oh, hey,
last
thing. I'm so upset they didn't let y'all shoot the cannons in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
How did they not let you shoot your
This is a neutral
cannons
site, bro.
in your own stadium, man?
Well, let me give you a little bit of history. There was a hurricane a couple of years ago, and the cannons weren't firing, and the Bucs won that game. And I said, any game the cannons weren't firing, the Bucs are going to win. So the cannons did not fire. You know what? Again, the Bucs won. So I'm good with that, and we just kind of move on. But listen, guys, I want you to know that, and I'm sure that if anybody from the Bucs sees me, why are you saying that? I always root for Carolina unless they're playing Tampa.
You've always said this too. He's always been so nice about our team.
I love you guys, I want this team to succeed. I love the area. You guys have done everything the right way. I mean, just as in general, and I love you guys with the exception of Ray Caruth. But the rest of you guys, I love you guys.
We don't love Ray Caruth either.
Other than that, love Byron Bell, love Mike Rimmers, love. All right, G man.
I'll take the Kraken over that guy. So just
I hear you. All right, we appreciate it. Y'all check Gene out. We'll catch up with you later, my man.
Later, Gene.
Love you guys. Take it easy.
All right, guys. I do want to address a question that was posed by Lynn. Lynn, longtime friend of the show, Panther. She's like a Panther royalty, right? And Lynn asked, she wants to know, did Matt Rule show favoritism to anybody at the Senior Bowl at the quarterback position?
So, apparently he was seen. But it's not just seen. Matt Jones was on their team that they coached in the Senior Bowl, and apparently they had good things to say about him. Again, it's hard to tell who they liked or didn't like. I mean, they spoke well enough about a lot of the quarterbacks that they coached, but I don't think it's enough to like any of them with the 8th pick in the draft, at least not any of the ones that were in that game. Yeah, I don't know. There were some damn good players there, and I'm happy that our coaching staff was there to see them, but not particularly for the quarterback position. More so for the receivers, a lot of the offensive line, all the positions that we were in desperate need of. So it was a good thing for our coaching staff.
No, you continue on. I was going to change the subject on something that I just now read up on I wanted to talk about, but you guys continue.
All right, I'm trying to think if, how about this? Let's go ahead and see. I don't really think we got a little quarterback news and more rumors coming out. I guess we get this I highlight it when Gene, and I'll put it back up. Share. How do I share back? Oh, I got to put okay. Still learning. It's not, and it's so simple. Shouldn't have to learn. Adam Schefter tweets this out. During trade talks to try to acquire Matthew Stafford, the Carolina Panthers made a serious offer to the Lions of their 8th pick overall, a 5th round pick, and quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Now, when you read this deal right here, Cody, I don't even know why you guys were upset. I would do this deal. I would do this deal right now. Because look, is that all we do is basically we're giving our 8th. That's it. That's all. In fact, you know what is the fact that and Teddy Bridgewater would have to be a part of any deal. Like he would have to, like we just can't afford to pay two. And the reason like is it the most ideal to have Matthew Stafford? No, I don't think that. Like, of course, like are you going to say would I rather have Deshaun Watson or Matthew Stafford? I'm going to say Deshaun Watson. Would I rather have Zach? Would I rather have $1 million or whatever? But if I can't have $100 steak, I'll take a Nathan's hot dog, bro. I'm hungry. And Matthew Stafford would have been a much better solution than damn Teddy Bridgewater. So I don't want to get into it as this, but other than the fact is that what do you think when Teddy Bridgewater hears this news? And he's had to have known. The coach called him out
right
in the end of season press conference. Everything that's come out of the Panthers. I've never seen a team who owes a guy so much money be so verbally down on them openly. And it's through and it's also through not saying things. Like, it's like, he's got to get better. We need a quarterback. We didn't say Teddy Bridgewater's name. So what do you think that these trade talks and the fact that it's clear and apparent that the Panthers are unsettled and they actually believe what we have been saying? That's the thing. They are finally doing, and this is why I say, screw you guys that are all in the media that all acted like we were overreacting, this and that. Screw all that attitude about this. No, it's like even the ownership of the Panthers and management right off the bat has just straight said it. Teddy Bridgewater ain't it.
Right.
Yep.
Now that he's heard that from him, what does that do to the Panthers' plan? I don't think it does anything to Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater is going to show up and cash that check, homie. Right? That he's going to be on this team until we tell him he can't be on this team. Now,
whether he's sitting on the bench or playing, he's making that money.
But this has created some sort of, he's got to be in some sort of way knowing that the Panthers know that he ain't it. What are the Panthers then doing now? Are they circling the wagons in the draft? What is going on? Because I think that the fork in the road, we stuck the fork in the road.
I think that because we heard so quickly that of the offer for Matt Stafford, because like you said, I don't think that Matt Stafford would blow us away like Deshaun Watson would. And I think if Deshaun Watson's available too, and we heard so quickly about them making these offers for Matt Stafford, and we haven't heard anything about Deshaun Watson, I don't think they're going after Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to focus
I disagree.
on moving up in the draft and getting a quarterback.
The difference is that the reason that you hear about our offer on Matt Stafford is because
the Lions leaked it.
Because they've already traded.
Yeah,
there's no reason to maintain it.
And the Lions leaked it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, there have already been notifications that we have called Houston. We just don't know what we've offered up to this point. You know, as far as
yeah.
Well, Houston still maintains that they're
keeping him. Yeah, I just can't. I can't see. Number one, if I'm Deshaun Watson, like I am, it's so frustrating because he's kind of caught into this really tough position where he has to choose what he wants. Does he want to play or does he not want to play and not get paid? And that's tough for anybody, I think. But I don't see how the Houston Texans don't trade him because he's not going to be there. He's just not going to stay there regardless. Like there is nothing I think they can do to repair them.
Let me see if I can find it. Go ahead, Cody.
It's the same thing with that happened with Le'Veon Bell a few years ago. He cannot play and not get paid, but he also doesn't get that credit for that year of his contract. So however long his contract's for, he can set out as long as he wants to. And until he starts come back and is active to play, that contract time doesn't expire. So
exactly.
He can't go anywhere without.
From a purely just the position that the Houston Texans are in, they can trade and actually get a quarterback that wants to come in there and then try to change things, right? I mean, obviously you take a risk in losing a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, but at the same time, you also have the situation that's kind of getting out of hand with Deshaun Watson saying that he would be willing to sit out. Like he does not want to play for the Texans. And as the Texans, you have the most value you can possibly have out of Deshaun Watson this year. Trade him.
Yeah, and also let's make this clear too. It's not a good thing for the Texans if they refuse to trade him and Deshaun is a man of his word and holds out, because then they're left holding their dick. Who's the backup quarterback in Houston? Yeah, that's right. No one knows. And by the way, they're probably going to trade J.J. Watt this year because J.J. Watt somewhere else. No, I did see that. Yeah.
Oh, this made me laugh. Yeah.
Oh, fat like what's his name? James Harden.
Yeah.
But it's so dumb, man. Because now, if you're the Texans, I mean, your best option, if that's what it is to trade Deshaun. Because then, hell, let's say you trade him to the Dolphins. You know you're getting Tua Tagovailoa from them. You know, then, okay, if you have your quarterback, if you want to bet on Tua, they can trade for the number 3 pick and then trade down with a team like, say, Carolina, who's looking to move up to number 3. And then they can get another receiver. They can load up on picks. I mean, at this point, if they don't trade Deshaun, it's just going to be egg on their face. I kind of think Deshaun has the power in this little brouhaha we have going on.
100% he has the power. Like, he has the no trade clause. He can choose where he wants to go. Like, if they say, we've decided that we're going to accept the offer from the New York Jets, and all those rumors about him preferring to go to the New York Jets being, possibly being false, he could just say, no, I'm not going there. And now all of a sudden they're back to square one. I mean, he has all the power. He can go wherever he wants, and he can screw the Texans out of whatever decision, like whatever that the offer is. Like, they could have 5 first-round offers from the Jets, but because he doesn't want to go to the Jets, the Carolina Panthers only offered 3. Now they're screwed out of those other 2 because Deshaun Watson didn't want to go there. Like, those are the things. That's how crazy how much power he has. And if he decides not to play, well, guess what? They're the team that doesn't have a quarterback and has no real line of sight to when their future is going to actually be back to being relevant.
Wow.
And his value drops a ton after the draft.
Absolutely.
Well, and
because after the draft, they already have their teams already went through free agency and the draft. They have their answers at quarterback.
Yeah, and I think.
I was going to say this is definitely the biggest quarterback carousel you're going to see in probably a decade or more.
Oh yeah.
So this is the year you need to do it because everybody is solidifying their franchise quarterback this year.
And I think Deshaun Watson does have most of the power, but it's not unlimited because you can sit out, but while the contract stops, so does the pay, but your age keeps going. And the longer you're not playing, the harder it is to come back in the game. So I mean, I don't think he will either, but that's why he doesn't have as much power. That's the only leverage
you're making
really
$5.
The only leverage.
I think he'll sit out.
You can sit out if you making 3. If he's on a
no. Listen,
I heard that they could fine him $50,000 a day for every day he's absent from training camp.
I don't think from training camp, but I think it's just his salary.
You know how much money he has?
Once you miss a game, bro. This is how they do it. They take your salary. If you start sitting out, right? They take that salary and they divide it by 16.
But if Deshaun
and that money make him $40 million, it's like that's a $5 million Sunday.
But here's the reason.
$5 million Sunday.
Here's the reason you're going to see him sit out. It's because if they don't trade him,
Kevin said this: could he fake an injury?
He could. I mean, he could do whatever he wants to do, really. But
he could cut off his own pinky toe.
Let's talk about this.
Hurt his
Let's talk about this for real. Let's have a conversation about this because I think that this is important to realize. If he does decide, if let's say they don't trade him, the freaking Houston Texans have no assets in the draft. Like, they don't have a first round pick, right? They are not in a good spot as far as what their situation is. They're not going to be able to build an offensive line. They're not going to have anybody who wants to come to Houston to play. Right, that's just the reality of their situation. He could sit out just purely off of the fact that he could be fearing for his own safety because he got hit too many times last year. He was required to be the hero on every single game. Like, there was no supporting cast whatsoever really out there to try to help him. I mean, and
Newton treatment.
Yeah, I mean,
are you saying that every story we've heard in the history of football about guys trying to show that they're not concussed, we could have an instance of a guy trying to fake being concussed, and how can you prove it? You'll be like,
Hey, how many fingers am I holding up? 94. Yeah, bro. Dude.
He could do what a lot of people do now. And
that's what I would do. I would go get COVID.
Or
my knee is sore.
It would probably be easier to do that than fucking fake a concussion or something.
No, look, is that Mahomes faked that he didn't have a concussion?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a nerve.
It was a pinched nerve that made him look like he didn't know where the hell he was at.
Yeah, they put the fucking dim mock on it.
By the way,
TV show. Remember,
dude?
TV
That's
show.
after they said that he wasn't even concussed. I was like, oh my god, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. There was no chance he wasn't concussed.
I think we're onto it. Let's call up Deshaun and be like, bro, you got to just fake a concussion. Yes,
yeah,
man.
That's all you got to do.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into the cat calls and see where they take us.
So what are your thoughts on cat calls?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Kevin
You shouldn't
Oh,
diss somebody.
I didn't
I
don't really have a
alter it
question. I
good.
just want to say,
So how do you think catcalling makes the
You're gonna have to pause one of them.
I know I didn't cut it right. Damn it. All right, nice. Well, there was our cool intro gone.
Hey, what's up? This is Kevin from Charleston. I don't really have a question or anything. I just want to say, man, thank y'all for the podcast. It's like one of the few podcasts I actually listen to, and you know, I had a pretty shit fucking week this week, and fucking got done right before Valentine's Day.
Ugh.
So, fucking bitch.
Well, at least you
Anyway.
saved a little coin. So.
Yeah, I love the podcast. I love talking Panther football as much as they suck ass and how much that team's going to get fucked over the years. But just thank y'all. Appreciate it. Making my night tonight. Peace.
Man, I appreciate you.
Hey,
We appreciate you.
This is my South Carolina Gamecocks fan, Kevin Boshoven. That's my dog. And Kevin, they said the best way to get over someone else is to get on top of someone different. So, hey, cheers. Cheers to you, man. And it'll be all right.
Yeah, it will be all right. And look, is that it? It does suck. That sucks, man. Getting done.
Yeah, right before Valentine's Day, that's rough. But hey, man, it is what it is.
I was talking to this person, and they got broke up with, and they were trying to break up with their person. Like, so they got dumped. They got their other half. This person's gay too, so I was gonna be like, you know, you can't be like the girl or the guy. I don't know who, but the other half, both of them were planning to break up with each other. And it was around the Christmas holidays. And the guy said that the other dude dumped him, and he was going to wait till after Christmas. But his boyfriend dumped him 3 days before Christmas. And he's like all shook now. And he's old, and his boyfriend was young. So here, at least you don't got that problem of being dumped by a younger dude.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure that's terrible. And by the way, Mr. J the Sixth in the chat says, I see Valentine's and Christmas as roster cut deadlines. I like that one.
We got to get under the salary cap.
Yeah. We got to cut the dead weight. Look
all right. Next call.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's Nick.
Hey, Nick.
So, just wanted to weigh in on the whole QB thing again. And this is going to be a never-ending topic that we talk about forever.
It will be the topic till we don't.
Eventually, depending on how everything goes.
Yeah.
Here's basically how I see things going down. Either I want us to go after an elite-level quarterback, okay? Now, I'm not saying that all these names are necessarily options, but Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, who's the quarterback from Green Bay? Aaron. I forget what his last name is, but anyways, yeah. That level of quarterback, that is what I want to see. We tried going for a middle-of-the-road quarterback with Teddy, and let's face it, he wasn't middle of the road. I don't want to see that happen again. Okay? I'm tired of being in this quarterback purgatory. I would rather run with Teddy and PJ for another year and tank and get a better draft pick next year with a quarterback than go out and get some Dak Prescott coming off of an injury or any of the other quarterbacks out there that just they aren't necessarily household names. I'm tired of that. Let's focus on fixing the offensive line if we can't get a quarterback. Let's focus on fixing up all those little parts and pieces that we need. Let's re-sign Mike Davis. Let's make sure that he's back. Okay, because him and McCaffrey together, we only saw it for one or two games. And we barely saw any of it just because there wasn't enough time to really plan on it. Okay, I want to see more McCaffrey and Mike Davis setups. I mean, I'd love to see Curtis Samuel back, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's a mistake on the team's aspect. I personally think that we need to make sure we keep Curtis Samuel, even if that means trading Robbie Anderson. Okay. Well, Robbie Anderson hasn't been bad. He hasn't necessarily lived up to the hype, in my opinion. But yeah, no, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. And the other thing that I'd love to see too, let's see if we can go back to doing 2 podcasts a week. I know football season's over, and I know there's not going to be much to talk about, but guys, it's a long week without hearing the podcast. Just saying. So, all right, guys,
man.
Love the show. Keep out.
I would first. What do you think? You know who else got dumped by a younger man?
Who?
The Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay! Zing. All right. Nick, man, we appreciate you calling in. And, he said this at the beginning, and it's the truth, is we're going to be talking about this until we're not.
Yeah.
That's what I heard this guy, and I'm telling you, John McClain from the Houston Chronicle, who I've had on this podcast. He's that nice. This was years and years ago. I'm pretty sure because I hit him up with I made this special cut audio of "Welcome to the Party, Pal," and it was It was Bruce Willis, who was John McClane in Die Hard. And he's like, I could listen to this guy talk football all day. He comes on Clay Travis. When I take the kids to school, I listen to it. And he was saying this is, look, he's been covering the Houston team or whoever they were, the Oilers, and then he's been covering the NFL for 40 years.
Oh my gosh.
And he said that, look, when the salary cap came out, like he was covering football when they invented the salary cap, and Warren Moon was going to be like, how are you going to keep this guy? They lost ultimately their quarterback. He's like, we've been looking for our quarterback since then. And we got him, and now the homie wants to leave. And he had nothing but nice things to say about Deshaun Watson, right? So he wasn't bad-mouthing him for this, but it was like a terror in his voice of like, oh, shit, you mean I might have to go to my grave without ever seeing that guy again?
Yeah, I mean,
I hate to say it, but yeah, I mean, that's the case. I mean, and he can only, the problem is like, and it sucks for any Houston Texans, but the reality of this is they've done this to themselves. Like, they just have been one of the most poorly run organizations even though there have been some successes over the years, they have clearly just really taken advantage. They basically did what we did to Cam, but on a much grander level, where they just did not give a shit about how they were treating Deshaun Watson.
I think it's really about the ownership, man.
I think so too.
That the ownership is just so backwards and, old bumpkin white boy that they're just like, man, we don't want nothing to do with this. Because Well, and he might be seeing this as like, oh shit, AFC, where are they? The South is looking pretty legit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's going to be having trouble. So I don't know. I wish he could be a Panther. It's not. I won't say it's not going to happen. It's going to be difficult. I would still think that the Jets have a better ability of getting them than we do.
Yeah.
I think they have more collateral and money. And, the worst thing would happen is that if I won't say handicap ourselves, Cody, because that would A, be very insensitive. B, that would be, you've been saying we need to, it's okay to offer these assets to get the dude. Yeah. But wouldn't it really suck to put yourself in a position where you get that guy and basically you just run it back of you not being able to do anything and you're just asking him to do everything?
Yeah, but I don't think that's what would happen though, and that's why I say let's give.
Why can't we have salary cap money? How about that? Tell me that. Why can we not have? Did you guys? I'm going to show this graphic to y'all.
Well, we have to hope that our general manager is adept in dealing with the salary cap and knowing how to be ahead on moves rather than too late. That was the problem with Marty Hurney. Marty Hurney would be so late in signing players or cutting players. I maintain we should have traded Curtis Samuel. We all think he's probably not going to be on the team next year, so why not trade him when we had an opportunity to get something for him? Listen, we're going to have to make some really tough cuts. I think K'Wan Short is probably doomed for a roster cut. Yep. There are other strategic cuts that the Panthers can make to open up some cap space.
Stephen Weatherly and K'Wan Short would be $14 million. I saw a tweet earlier today about that.
But it's like we can't ever have any cap money. We've never had any cap money in the entire time we've done this podcast in the last 8 seasons.
We were supposed to this year.
Yeah. Look, Salesman 95 Keep Pounding is in the chat room. I see him. He's watching on Periscope. He's a Twitter legend, dude. Twitter legend. He likes to I like him. I laugh at his stuff because he's very comfortable about talking about pooping.
Everybody does it.
I'm like this is every time he said, and people are like, why you say something? I'll be like, man, we're all on the shitter looking at Twitter. Like that's when we do it. All right, but look at this. Do you see this graphic I put? How much each team, NFL team paid players not on their team. Look at that. We paid more money to people not on our team than we did on our team.
That's hysterical.
And look at Marty Hurney. He's still working his magic, y'all.
Well, it's not only him, but yeah.
They get him too, but
yeah. Neither way, we're always like this. It's like always, and then the Saints somehow are negative $100 million, but they'll get to sign everybody this year.
Yeah, they'll still bring in players. It's so stupid. I almost think the salary cap is a myth.
That's what Trey Boston. That's what I was mentioning earlier. Trey Boston was talking about it. He's like, it's people, like it's organizations can choose to pay people or not choose to pay people. Like when the Eagles can sign anybody they want, the Saints can sign anybody they want. Like they don't, like even when they're supposed to be in cap hell, these people are still able to get it done because the salary cap is literally just a hallucination. Like it's not. If you have somebody who is smart enough and is willing to actually go to navigate the salary cap, it's not even a problem for a lot of these teams.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, it's Jedi Joy. I just had a couple of thoughts on
Jedi.
The Super Bowl, some finishing thoughts. So this Sunday I was at a Roy Cooper unadvised Super Bowl party with a lot of pretty girls. And one of those pretty girls asked me, how do you feel about, division rival Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl? And to be honest, I'm neither here nor there about it. They're kind of like the older brother that's kind of a fuck up, but, he finally gets a job and, moves out of the house. So you're a little bit proud of him. So, congrats to the Bucs. I had a, feeling that the Bucs were going to win.
We're happy for Chuck, our older brother.
When the news that Mike Rimmers was going to be starting left tackle for them. This flashback to 2015 and, Von Miller just destroying Mike Rimmers for that game. I was like, oh, well, Jason Pierre-Paul is probably going to fucking eat.
And they did, dude.
There's also news here about Russell Wilson probably being trade baited. It would be totally interesting, hear me out, if Russell Wilson's get traded to Houston for Deshaun Watson, just straight up. Houston gets a franchise quarterback in Wilson, and then Seattle basically gets a 6-year younger version of Russell Wilson.
Wow.
And, they just kind of run it back that way. That's just my thoughts. Thanks for the show, guys. Have a good one. Keep pounding.
How many people do you think Americans are observing COVID protocol at all anymore?
I think certain things have become second nature.
I have to
wearing a mask, I think, has become for a lot of
we'll
places.
do that. We do that, but I don't find it. I would find it more surprising that people didn't go to a Super Bowl party than if they did.
I didn't go personally, but
that's because you were streaming.
No, I was watching it. But I think it depends upon where you're located as well. I think there are certain people who take it more seriously than others.
Right.
There are certain areas that do.
I'm starting to feel like people are just not even thinking about it anymore.
Over it, man. Even the people that were really heavy on being safe and shaming people for not being safe, fuck it, I want to go to dinner, man. It's they're ready to.
They're just gonna risk it. Yeah, I mean, and they're looking at certain data that's showing them that they're okay to do that. And I'll just be extra careful when it comes to being around my family or something like that. I mean, you can't blame them, for thinking that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, how psychology it's just a psychology of events. You know what I'm saying? And I know young people are going to be less. I have seen it, dude. Is where I live at. There's some places that we've gone to eat and some things, and you're like, oh shit, I don't feel comfortable here. You know what I'm saying? There's one or two places in my town that these mugs don't do anything by the rules, or not even a rule. It's more busy now than it was before COVID.
I don't. That doesn't surprise me, man.
Crazy. It's crazy. God bless. I hope we can get rid of this crap, and praying for everybody who's been affected by it and ill and all of that junk. It is a serious thing. Just be safe, be careful, be cautious. And if you're sick, here's the real thing, folks. I want to give my PSA.
Do it
to the world. Is instead of us, I'm not going to say we shouldn't focus on masks and washing hands and social distance. I want to do all those things. But if your ass is not feeling well, if you know that you aren't feeling well, you owe us to take a time out. I've people, oh, it's my allergies. I'm like, it's January, bitch. Who the fuck got allergies in January? What is blooming? What's blooming? Or they'll be like, nah, I got a sinus infection. You're like, you stay home.
Hey, if I get the COVID vaccine and I grow a third nipple, will y'all rub it for good luck?
All the time, for sure.
I'm getting vaccinated.
I'll say, do you have to have the third nipple for us to do that? What's
this cat that I went to high school with, he was his name was Dwayne something, and we called him Triple Nipple. All right, next call.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is James Varick, Monfils Evangelista, reporting to you live from Houston, Texas. Space City.
What's up, James?
Riot.
Nice.
Well, here in Houston, we got together to watch the Super Bowl, and as we all know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the. Oh God, that's the thing that happened. We all hated it. Two things we do agree on here in Houston, Texas, though, is that we'd much rather see Deshaun Watson in a Panthers uniform than a Houston Texans uniform. So whatever needs to happen, just get that man to Carolina. I have a farm. Like, he can have the farm. Like, the Texans can have the farm. They can have all of it. They can have the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, the couch, the living room furniture, my third laptop, all of my Bitcoin. I don't care. They can just have it.
Oh, shit.
We need Deshaun Watson in Carolina. We cannot deal with another year of watching teddy bear ass water suck up the team and the squad and blow a bunch of leads or not take the lead in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. We can't do it anymore, guys. We just can't.
He said, I have a farm.
Second thing we all agree on is that you all do an amazing job doing this podcast. I know we don't call in often from Houston. We just call in every now and then to show some love, but just showing you some love. I want y'all to know the Houston, Texas Space City Riot. We all watch y'all, and unanimous consensus is that Cody is one of the smartest men on the planet. So y'all keep doing what you're doing. Keep talking, y'all. And we'll be tuning in to listen to y'all every Tuesday night.
Might have to call you the professor.
James, shout out to you, man. Hey, man, I got some fans out there, bro. Listen to your boy. I'm out here.
Well, you can only take, it with a grain of salt for someone who will give their whole farm, their Bitcoin. No, that was funny. That was a good call.
That was a great call, man. That was fantastic. I've never heard of it before, have we?
I rarely, like every now and then we'll get somebody from Texas area. I feel like is Vela from Texas?
Mike Vela.
Maybe he's California.
I think he's from he's from St. Louis, but he's in California. But by the way, I mean, to our caller, look, I'm also the analyst for the Houston Texans on Draft Tech. Ooh. I just never get to write about them because they don't have any picks. Now, if they trade Deshaun Watson, then my workload goes up considerably. But it also means more money for me. And that might also mean that Deshaun's here in Carolina. So I don't know. We'll see. But thanks,
Cody is the fan favorite. He's the fan favorite. All right, next call.
Tony.
Uh-oh.
Tony. You Italian mother. Tony. If you don't give me an update on the Steve Smith cameo, I'm going to strangle you with the fettuccine noodle. Right?
That's right.
Now that we got that out of the way.
You better write that down.
An interesting statistic. So I had alluded to my boy, old Chucky from Elizabeth City, in the chat last week that I had an interesting stat that I was working on. Let me just hit you with this to show you how non-existent, mediocre, pick your adjective, that Teddy was last year. You know, we talk about the yak yards all the time and how important that was for us this year. But let's throw out the numbers, okay? Let's throw out the numbers.
Let's do it.
So Teddy had 3,733 passing yards this past season. Yak yards was 2,082 yards. So we're looking at 1,651 yards in the air is what Teddy threw. To be that dependent on your yak yards for your receivers is sad from the quarterback position. It shows a lot of credibility to our receiving core, but I got kind of curious what that kind of compared to the rest of the league. So if we look at those the dumpster fire Falcons, you have homie Matty Ice throwing 4,581 yards with yak yards that is 1,768. So you're looking at almost 3,000 air yards that they're throwing there, 2,813. Let's look at the Seattle Sea Chickens, 4,212 passing yards for old Russie, with 1,895 yards that were yak. So that's 2,327 air yards. The Chiefs, 4,740 on Mahomes, 2,475 air yards. So 2,475 yak yards. So you have over 2,200 air yards. So And then you got Stafford and Lions, 4,084. Passing yards, 1,908. Yak yards, which is still over 2,000. So way over 2,000. So we've got a mediocre statistic with a mediocre quarterback. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought that was something that we need to talk about. I haven't heard talked about anywhere. So, I mean, hey, I know that's probably off-brand, off-topic for tonight, but I just wanted to throw that wrench in.
Well, we've the yards after the catch, man. Like we all saw it. Like it was there.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah,
he's 100% right.
He's there. Update. Actually, what he really called about was because I've been fearing my life over here. Update. Now we just got to do it, really. And when I say we got to do, I've been trying to think on this. I feel like when you make the request on Cameo, they can't feel like you're trying to profit off of them. Like, I feel like that would be a no-no. And not that we're trying to profit. But I feel like if I say, if I say to the C3 Panthers podcast, like he may turn it down. Just because he got his own podcast. And, what do we want Steve Smith to say to us?
Well, you got to look at
obviously it's ice up. I mean, it has to be that. He says this is what it says, enjoying retirement. This is his ad on Cameo, but trying not to be bored, laughing at myself and other people, excited to connect with you all. No derogatory language in request.
We just need to make him record the drop for what we play whenever we do our ice up pick.
Yeah.
I want him to tell me that if I don't get it together, toughen up to ice up, he's going to punch me in the face like Ken Lucas. That's really what I want him to say more than anything.
I think you're only looking at the negative side of that too, though. You're looking at like what could possibly happen if he said the C3 Panthers podcast. I don't think that would be a big deal. Look at the positive side. He may be like, holy crap, a C3 Panthers podcast, and give us a listen and get in contact with you because of that. He's a Panther. I mean, there's always things that could happen from that. I don't think it would be a big deal.
You can chat with him via text for 99 cents.
No way.
Hey,
that's what it says.
This is 100%.
He's making money off us.
It's a bot. That you just paid. You got botted for 99 cents.
Can I show you guys something here? I think this relates to G Baby's call, and I want to try this for the first time. I want to share a video, and I wasn't even aware of this until over the weekend. I had been meaning to send it to all of you in our group chat, but I never did. Okay, I don't know why, but somehow, like, my YouTube channel or my YouTube algorithm will recommend me like different teams and some of the content that their own channel produces. And this weird thing from the New Orleans Saints popped up. It's a home run derby quarterback challenge from 2019. Let me set the stage for you here real quick. They're trying to hit the softball as far as they can, as many times as they can, okay? You're going to see the very tail end of Taysom Hill. But then I want you to watch Teddy fucking Bridgewater after and tell me this is not the most pathetic thing that you've ever seen. Okay, first, can you see
no, I got to add it. All right. Yes, now we can. So can you turn the sound on?
Yeah, you just got to unmute it and it should come on.
Yeah, okay. Let's see what it's got.
So that's Taysom. Just
all right.
Driving him.
Okay. Look at those biceps.
Dude, he's fucking shredded. Now look at this.
Oh no.
Is this like a team building activity?
What? Look at this.
Oh.
Look at this.
Okay. Come on. Give him a little outside.
Does that mean number 46? Is this the
46 yards? They hit the ball. Another one. You barely didn't even hit over 100. Watch.
He's a ground ball hitter, man.
He switches hands.
Oh, Switch hitter.
He switched his hand.
Oh.
I mean, I can't.
He's not
I can't
a good
get,
baseball player either.
He's not a good. That's all I can assess from that. He's not a good baseball player. I don't want to.
He's not a good sports player. Is probably the better.
He's just not
What
good.
it seems like he's not a.
Bro, is that not one of the most telling things that you've ever? Is it any wonder to you why we don't have a quarterback that can fucking throw the football downfield? Like that guy has no follow through. That guy, look, for a guy who, according to Tony, has such a huge D, that man does not know how to use his hips to save his life.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Here,
wrong.
what is this?
Was he wearing
mean?
two
Y'all
gloves
tell
when he
me,
was batting?
what is this? What does this mean?
He will see how Creeper Cat Chronicles. Who will see?
He's talking about Steve Smith. What does that mean?
How creepy Cat Chronicles is.
What am I creepy? Just because I'm not scared to like laugh about a picture where a dude's D is hanging to his ankle. And yes, I finally said it, Blake Bettis. I have been avoiding it and trying not to. Do you know how hard
That's what she said.
to not say something about that as he was taking swings with that bat? He'd been better off trying to hit it with the other one.
Bro, he's so bad. He had to try.
Look at this crap. Who is this dude? Yo, on my 9th year going in, and Kyle Love, fat ass Kyle Love. I love Kyle Love, the football player, but this mug out here, he's trolling me. He's trolling. Guess what? I got a job. I got a hot wife. I got a beautiful head of hair. I got 3 great kids. Got all of this. Guess what? I don't give a fuck if you don't like me and my podcast. I really don't. Like at this point, like I mean, like I ain't up here like.
Tony, we love you more than Teddy Bridgewater. You know that's for sure.
Shoot.
Ooh, that's a close one.
That ain't saying much.
Yeah, I know, right? That's not even
Next
a compliment, dude.
Next call. That's not a compliment.
Hey, this is Joe from the Mile High Cats. I was just watching the show and watching the post-game show about Super Bowl and just watching how dominant that Tampa Bay defensive line was. And does this kind of signal to the Panthers that they need to get maybe Penei Sewell, hold off all those pass rushers if they have any shot? What do they need a quarterback for if they can't keep them upright? I say it starts in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, and go from there. What's your thoughts about that, guys? Take it easy, Joe. Ow, 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 ow.
Joe,
you guys
started a craze, man.
I know, it's awesome. Did you and here, let's get to the call, and then I want to talk about Shaqad.
Okay. Listen, I would love to draft offensive line. There are 2 offensive linemen who I think are top 10 picks that I would love to have. Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater. We'll start to talk about these guys more and more. But yeah, Tampa Bay drafted Tristan Wirfs. They were really bad at right tackle, and they drafted an all-pro right tackle. But the thing is, they also had Tom Brady. They had a quarterback that they had to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, the cardinal rule. As long as we do not have a franchise quarterback on our roster, even though we have very real other needs on this team that need to be filled, none of them are more pressing than a quarterback right now. Did you all see that clip I just played? If you're listening to the podcast by audio only, go to the YouTube video and watch the embarrassment that I just played for the world. Watching our quarterback try almighty to hit a fucking softball thrown by Drew Brees, who has a baby arm. And he could
So many jokes to be made here.
Wow.
So many jokes to be made.
Paris.
I was thinking about this with the. All right. I agree. But what if you don't have? What if the guy isn't available? Right? Like, let's just say this: you call up the Jets and they say no, we ain't messing with it. You call up whoever you can call up, and they're like, nah, we're good, or it's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this year isn't the year. And if that is the case, if Trey Lance is gone before we can pick, right?
Yep.
And now we have a decision to make. I kind of think that trading out of 8 and back, and I know we say this every year, it's like this, like, oh, and it never happens. No one, hardly anyone ever trades back, that type of thing. And the Panthers haven't ever. But it could be one of those things where, like, you do something to the effect of what the Colts have done, what the Cowboys did in the past. That's so far in the rear view for the Cowboys. I don't even think we can keep talking about it, but for so long.
Yep.
But what they did is like, and ultimately Tampa has really worked hard to address their offensive line over the last couple of years as well. So if we can't get our guy, wouldn't it behoove us to try to just load up that offensive line?
Yeah. How about this? What position would y'all, let's say that happens and we miss our quarterback, right? Trade back.
What if we don't miss him? What if he's not there? Like, what if they're not there?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if there are no quarterbacks to be had while we're picking, what position do we go? Like, do we just go order of operations that we know we need a quarterback, and then the next biggest thing is offensive line? So just draft the best O lineman available, or what do we do?
That's what I'm saying. I would love to trade back out of 8 to like 19, cop an extra first or 2 seconds, and what I would like to do is take like an offensive lineman or 2. Like, ultimately, you would love to have a tackle, but like, we need a center, we need guards, we need so much on the offensive line just alone, and that's including signing Taylor Moton. Even if that does happen, I would be more comfortable with the Panthers picking 2 guards in the first and second rounds if it's like a 23rd pick. And I tell you one thing, I'm already tired of these damn mock drafts, bro. Tired of them. There's too many mock drafts, and there's mock drafts everywhere. And everywhere I turn around, I see the damn Panthers linked to Kyle Pitts, and it's just a pit in my stomach, bro. A pit in my stomach.
What if
we need to push OJ Howard? We need to try to pursue OJ Howard. I'm telling you.
I agree with you on that. I think we should try to pursue OJ Howard as well. But what if we get to the 8th pick and like Micah Parsons is there available? And you've got a guy who could lead this young defense we've just drafted possibly for the next 10 years. Is he a guy we're taking at 8 if he's there?
Yeah, and then you have to think about the combination of him, Shaq Thompson, who, Shaq Thompson we kind of saw what he was when he doesn't have another really good linebacker around him. But I think if you add Micah Parsons, like all of a sudden him, Shaq Thompson, Michael Parsons, Jeremy Chin, that actually seems like a pretty stout little linebacker / hybrid safety core right there. So
Burns too.
There's a lot of different options. And then also like guys like Patrick Surtain and Caleb Farley. We've never had a shutdown corner, And
I think it depends on who's there as well.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a good question. I think all of us are going to be heartbroken if we're not able to address the quarterback with our first pick this year.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, I think somebody else may break our hearts, right? It's like they're talking about 5 quarterbacks going in the top 20, and that was in a draft where I was looking at one of these mock drafts, and that was with us not taking a quarterback. That was with somebody else that was like should have taken a quarterback. I'm kind of to the point where I'm starting to think it's going to go like QB, pick, QB.
I mean, good, yeah.
Good God.
Hey, I think CK, you actually, I was thinking about it earlier. I think you jinxed it earlier when you were talking about when Breeze walks out the door, how the Saints are going to be screwed for years. Yeah. Now you jinxed it, man. Watch. Now they're going to have some kind of crazy deal where they're going to get rid of. They're going to get rid of Taysom Hill. They're going to get rid of Winston. They're going to get rid of all their draft picks, move up to the number 3 spot, get Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's going to win 8 Super Bowls with New Orleans. And I'm telling you, jinxed it. That happened. That'd be crazy. The Saints could do something like that. They're crazy enough to do something like that.
Trevor Lawrence is the most acclaimed prospect in the history of the world.
I hope
that is what we've been told. I mean,
I hope he smokes weed between now and the combine.
No, even better.
He's in California right now.
Oh yeah, drop a little bit.
No, is there any kinks in the armor of that claim that he is the most pristine, whatever? Like you could you could do no wrong. There is no chance that he's going to fail. Like he's better than Elway at this. Like he's in the ranks of better than Elway, Peyton Manning at this point. Like it seems like there's been no flaw.
He's on that trajectory, definitely. Yeah.
I mean,
he had his labrum repaired, dude.
All right, well,
he's not throwing arm.
Well, no. So he's going to. So he on February the 12th, he's doing a like his own version of a pro day type thing. Where all 32 teams are going to be there and see him throw. So instead of him doing the normal visits that players normally take, he's going to throw for all the teams at that one spot, and then he's going to have a small procedure done on his labrum, on his non-throwing shoulder. So
is that going to cause him to drop, do you think?
Not at all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even if
I don't think he's going to drop, but I'm just saying, is that the one thing that we could point to is that if there is a flaw in if you could draw up a prospect, an injury coming out of college, I mean, finally we got something on him.
And it's really not, it's not enough. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a more. How about this? You mentioned John Elway and Andrew Luck and guys like that. His college career is more accomplished than both of them, and his physical tools are equal or better than them.
So what is the downside? Because there is, there is
one.
I mean, let's look at when Mahomes came out in the draft. His draft side of things was he was reckless. I mean, that was there's a con on everybody's list. What is the con for Trevor Lawrence?
It's labrum. It's the
labrum. A lot of times what happens is these are my 2 biggest critiques of Trevor Lawrence. Again, this is someone who's watched every snap of his.
Yeah.
Whenever the pocket starts to break down, once he starts getting hit a little bit, not all the time, but his footwork can kind of start to get away from him. And you saw that in the LSU national championship. After he had been hit a few times, he's just trying to make a play and play superhero ball. And he's just putting too much into it, and his hips aren't underneath him. And he's just trying to do too much. Another thing is that he has elite level arm talent. So when you have that kind of talent, you tend to trust it too much. And you will straight up make throws that you had no business trying to make.
Yeah.
And that's whenever you do see Trevor make an interception, it's just a boneheaded throw, him trying to jam the ball. Similar to how Cam Newton used to do. Just he trusted his bazooka.
What about and you watch Clemson, I don't. Did they play out of the shotgun a lot? I feel like I always saw him come out of shot. Is that actually? Can we say that could be like one thing? Is that actually maybe not a ton of experience under center?
Great point. So Clemson does not have a pro. Yeah, Clemson does not run a pro style offense. So he rarely ever takes a snap from under center. However, neither did Justin Herbert, and he's doing just fine. So.
Yeah, but there is one thing is that, and I'm not saying that this is a bad comparison, but Nick Foles has a lot of limitations because he can't. Like, they have hard time running the football.
Right.
Like, it hurts it's not that it hurts the quarterback play necessarily. Is that sometimes it's difficult for running backs in those types of sets to get a lot of good action and get ahead of steam and some different things. All right, let's keep going to the calls.
Yes, I want to trade Christian McCaffrey to the Jaguars for 3 4th-round picks this year. You all think that's a good deal?
3 4th-round picks?
Go Jags.
I don't understand.
Right.
Is he a Jaguar fan?
Random comment is random.
Random Jags fan calling up the show.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no, I don't think we would take that deal.
No, but we would trade him to you for 1 1st-round pick.
Boom! There it is. A pick for a player. They get
go.
McCaffrey, we get the first pick.
All right, let's see.
I don't think they would take that deal either.
What if we gave him the 1st and the 8th? I mean, the
What
McCaffrey.
these people? What is this saying? Hold on.
Again, that.
Did you get butt dialed?
I guess so.
What the fuck? Is that it? That was the whole call?
That was it. That was it. That was his. That was like. That was his second trade offer.
That was his second trade offer.
All right, next call.
Panther Nation, my brother,
What's up,
how y'all
G,
doing?
my man.
RCA. Hey man, I want to congratulate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for winning that Super Bowl. Even though y'all know me, I believe that Super Bowl was rigged. Super Bowl 50. Anyway, you know, now to the Panthers, as y'all know, I like Zach Wilson. I really do. But let me ask you guys this question: Would you guys be against of us picking up that the offensive tackle Sewell? I think that's his name, out of Oregon. I saw some of his tape or whatever. He's a pretty good tackle, whatever. Would you want to pick him up if Trey Lance was still on the board, or would you pull the trigger on Trey Lance? Because Trey Lance, he looks nice. He came from a weaker division, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, he has the height. He can scramble pretty good. And, you know, the only thing about him, looks like he goes off like the first read. It looks like he doesn't like express he doesn't like look at all his other wide receivers, put it that way. Seen a couple of plays that was like that. I know he could be taught better and everything like that, you know. But would you guys be willing to take that offensive tackle out of Oregon if he falls to number 8? If we are still going to be a number 8, or do you guys feel that we're going to trade up or trade back? Give me your thoughts on that. Keep pounding.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of mentioned this before in the last call, right? We would love to have Penei Sewell. We would love to have a ton of these players, but if it's not a quarterback, it doesn't, solve our most immediate problems.
All right, so here's a hot take for you. What if I was more interested, and you're not going to like this because I always dog on North Dakota State, it's quarterback you. But what if I said I would be more interested in taking Trey Lance than Justin Fields?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad at you. I think they both offer a tremendous upside. I would put Trey Lance slightly. Again, it's like, Justin Fields has had a better career and is a more accomplished quarterback. But Trey Lance, he has those special kind of physical abilities, and I disagree with G too. He's not a one-read quarterback. He goes through his progressions, and he's actually really good when rolling out to his left and right. I think he might run like a low 4.5, maybe even like a high 4.4. Like, the dude is a real athlete. So yeah, I would love to take Trey Lance over any of those.
Are there any hidden quarterbacks in this draft that, because looking back at the fact is that if we could redraft quarterbacks from the last few years, it's going to be Pat Mahomes, number 1, number 2, Deshaun Watson, number 3, maybe who would be next? Maybe Josh Allen. And if you tell me that you would draft Deshaun Watson over Patrick Mahomes right now, you are a homer, homie. That's just homer, homie.
Oh, are you asking me?
I'm daring you. And I know you're going to say yes, he would do it. And I don't. But here's the thing: is that Patrick Mahomes was slightly off the radar, and he's like the greatest. I feel like this is that I feel like after Trey Lance, I don't want to hear nothing about quarterbacks.
Hey, let me ask you a question. After looking at what Patrick Mahomes had done to him in the Super Bowl, does that not look like the last few seasons for Deshaun Watson? A terrible offensive line where he's having to run around and no one can get open because he has no time to throw the football. So,
first, it's not as bad as it was in the Super Bowl, A. And B, you could just look at it and say
Deshaun has been beaten up way worse than what happened to Patrick.
In that game?
Yes,
that game was an icon. That game, he had 0. I'm telling you this, Patrick Mahomes, even with all of that, it was to the point like this. If they could just find a way to give him a second, this mug makes the most sensational throws. I'm sorry. All right, I'm taking Pat.
Good.
I will take Pat.
I don't blame you. I'm just saying we've all said that the situation matters. If you would have put Deshaun on those same Kansas City Chiefs team, he has the same number of rings as Patrick.
Okay, I agree with you.
My point is, let's focus on what my question is, and that is, after Trey Lance, is there anything that is even in the realm of, all right, well, we're not going to take him at 8, but what is there going to be a quarterback that comes out of nowhere in 5 years in this draft that they go, oh man, he should have been taking over Fields?
So I'm gonna give you 5 names, and I'm not too high on either of them or on any of them. The first 2 you already know: Matt Jones from Alabama and Kyle Trask out of Florida. Not very mobile, good arms, not great. More so with Mac. Mac has a bigger arm than Kyle. And they're more of those old school prototypical pocket passing quarterbacks. Then you're going to have guys like Sam Ehlinger out of Texas, who put up some good numbers, but never quite put Texas over the edge. Jamie Newman, who the Panthers coached at the Senior Bowl, was supposed to start for Georgia this year, but opted out due to COVID. He was a Wake Forest transfer. That really hurt him not playing this year because he was another guy that has a ton of physical talent, but just, doesn't have the reps or the playing time. And then finally you have a dude like Kellen Mond, the quarterback out of Texas A&M, who has been a good but not great quarterback, more mobile than he is a real thrower of the football, but he does have good arm talent. It's just so hard to imagine, like Dak Prescott, for example, going to the Cowboys.
On him. There's been a lot of comments in the chat room about this.
Yeah.
What is going on with Dak Prescott? We know that the relationship between him and the team was somewhat strained over the prior going into the season, where they could not reach, a point of agreement on his contract. To me, in some ways, that sounded like that Dallas wasn't all in on him more than not being able to come to a number. I could be wrong on that. Then you heard the stories about him dealing with depression going into this season. You started wondering, were there some sort of signs that were holding them back from saying, this is our guy right here? He suffers this big injury, and now we're on a carousel, like CK said earlier, where it could be one of the biggest QB carousels. And we know the Cowboys don't want to come out without a seat. And then Richard's Outdoor World brings this up. That's Panthers FSU. That this Cowboys left him out of the new hype video. And I saw someone commenting on this that they worked in video production in sports, and they said there's so many eyeballs on these videos that are made. There's no way that somebody didn't raise their hand and say, "You think we should put Dak in it?"
Yeah.
So what they were implying is that there's no way that could just be an accident. Just like there was no way that the Panthers.
Same thing happened to Cam, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh. I would take Dak. I'm not gonna lie. Look. I don't think Dak is the most elite arm in the NFL, but he's a good quarterback. He's definitely good enough to win if you put the right pieces around him. I want to say he's a Teddy Bridgewater because he throws the ball very short quite often and lets receivers do a lot of work. But he also has the ability to
let it fly.
He has the ability to throw it deep, and he does it. So a lot of times, but he definitely has the ability to throw it deep. And I think he's a solid quarterback. Like I said, I don't think he's the best in the league, but you can win a title with Dak, I think.
So I've heard that they intend to franchise tag him again. Ooh. So he's probably going to end up being the next Kirk Cousins. I mean, almost identical. I think they were 4th-round picks, and then they were franchise tagged 2 times. And listen, I don't mean to shit on him as a quarterback or even Matthew Stafford. They're certainly upgrades from Teddy Bridgewater, and that's undeniable. But I really don't think too differently of Dak Prescott than I do Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I think Dak is probably a little more mobile, probably a little well put together, minus this injury that just happened. I think Stafford probably has a bigger arm, but I see quarterbacks that, one, they represent a large chunk of our salary cap, okay? Because if we trade for Dak, we're going to have to pay the man all the money that Dallas wasn't going to pay him before.
Yeah.
So, and he's coming off.
No, you don't. No, you don't have to because he's coming off an injury. So, you know what is you could do him like everybody. That's why I think the Cowboys are going to do him wrong. And then I just thought about this. Didn't you say you love to trash on some Matt Stafford about being basic?
He is.
But you try to tell me that situation matters. And you're trying to, but then you say it doesn't matter when it comes to Detroit, when they've only had 3 different head coaches under his time as a quarterback. They've only had 7 different offensive coordinators. Their coaches have been terrible outside of the one that was great. Who was the black coach that they had? That was awesome. He's just so soft. Yeah, he's just so soft spoken. They made it to the playoffs, and then they fired a dude. He's never had a running game. He's never had an elite. So, and I'm not trying to overly disagree with you because for a lot of points I do. I used to come on here on this podcast, and I would get so fucking pissed when people, because 5 years ago, they would be like, Stafford's better than Cam. And I was like, you mother. But I don't think that I think that you look at Stafford as just a basic bitch.
I said the same thing about Matthew Stafford that I did about Teddy Bridgewater, that he is who I thought he was. And this is what I'm telling you, that he is a good quarterback.
He's way better than Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm not comparing their talent levels. I'm saying, unlike Cam Newton, Matthew Stafford is a player that isn't going to overcome the level of talent around him. So
that's a lie too. That's a lie too, because over the last 5 years, he's had a total of Golden Tate. He's had who's the other?
Calvin Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And when he had Calvin Johnson, guess
what? They broke records.
They were
balling. Hey,
but Kenny Galladay only plays a third of every season.
Kenny Galladay has won me a fantasy league, just about, man. That guy's a great receiver. And let's go with the real stat: 10-56 or 58, I can't remember, in his career against teams that make the playoffs. That's what Cody's talking about.
I just feel like you can't say that situation matters and defend all these other players, but then say, look, the Lions have been just as big of a shit show as anybody on the planet.
I think he can be a souped up version of Nick Foles in the right spot with the right team around him.
Nick Foles is bad, bro. Nick Foles is trash.
Nick Foles
he got hot for 4 games.
Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes.
Well, he beat the New England's defense in that, and the Eagles' defense beat Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't like this. It's not like Tom Brady beat Patrick Mahomes. Guess who beat Patrick Mahomes this weekend?
Yeah, that defense.
Rimmers.
That defense.
Have they ever? How about this? How about this? Maybe Greg or someone could look this up. In the entire time that Matthew Stafford was a Lion, have they ever won the NFC North?
No, they've only won 1 playoff game, and I don't think they were the division winner, but I'll look it up.
No,
they were 11-5. They went 11-5 one year.
But under that same guise, let's also look at the context there. He's been there while they've also had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and those were much more efficiently run operations. Like, to put this into perspective, Calvin Johnson ended his career early because the Detroit Lions were so inept at trying to build a franchise that was actually going to do anything.
Yeah.
He ended his career early. So here's the reality of it. Is I think that a lot of it does fall on Stafford to some degree, because he could have chosen to leave a long time ago if it was an organizational failure, right? He could have chosen to leave. He didn't have to sign the most recent contract. He could have tried to go somewhere else and see what else is out there, but he didn't. I think he has this mindset that he was going to fix the Detroit Lions. The problem is it's not on the quarterback to do that. It's not. The quarterback is not supposed to hold you back as you're doing that. He's supposed to lift everybody else up. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's at Patrick Mahomes level. He's not at Drew Brees level, certainly. But he is better than half of the quarterbacks in this league.
I'll give you that, but like I said, you're talking about you've got to give him credit. You're right, because he was in the time that Favre and Brady were there. But I want a quarterback that is competitive and can overcome that. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to make an excuse for a guy because, he played against a really, really good team. No, I want a guy who could win that game.
They went 10-6. They went 10-6 in 2011.
They haven't won the division in '93. Detroit has.
And they went 2014. They went 11-5. And since then, he has been in Carolina Panther purgatory. 7-9, 9-7, 9-7, 6-10, 3-4-1 in the year he missed 8 games. So look, they lost. They went down 5 wins basically because of him losing him. And they were 5-11 this year. And you know what is I don't want Stafford because he's too old at this point.
Yeah.
But I do see how he could be a piece that he's better than Kirk Cousins, bro. I don't even like putting him in the same, like, he's so far better than Teddy Bridgewater. It's just I don't think he's fantastic. In fact, I've always thought Cam was a better quarterback, but he is not. He has been durable. The Rams did this for a reason. Mm-hmm. And we can make fun of the Rams about how much they've traded for quarterbacks. Like, they've given up 9 picks for Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. But they have been in the mix.
Yeah.
Even trading all those picks away. And on top of that, right now, I think they're looking at that defense and they're looking at some of the weapons and they're going, you know what? One piece can help us.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If I was a Rams fan, I wouldn't be talking the same way. I mean, my thoughts on Matthew Stafford are the same. But yeah, I think Matthew Stafford on that team, and more importantly, with that kind of head coach, because remember, y'all, Drew Brees was not the Drew Brees that we have known before he got with Sean Payton in New Orleans.
He was good. He was good.
Okay, well, a lot of people say Matthew Stafford is just good.
That's true.
But, maybe Sean McVay, an offensive, young offensive-minded guru, might be the thing that pushes Stafford over the edge. Like, for the Rams, I like this a lot. Mm-hmm. But to kind of bring this around back to, like...
Dak is going to be 28 this year, coming off an injury. And he has... Let me see.
Look, Dak and Stafford are the same quarterback. Dak's just younger. That's my thing with it.
I think Dak has played on a team over the last couple of years that had a good offensive line, an excellent run game. So you can't say that it's very hard to compare because in one case Ezekiel Elliott is busting off 1,000-yard seasons like crazy, and the Detroit Lions have not had a 1,000-yard rusher in the last decade. So that's one hard comparison. Right. So it's not like an apples to apple. The other difficult part is that they have a very good, or they had a very good offensive line. But I tell you one thing, if you look at Dak's stats, this mug's completion percentage is legit.
He's
that's a good question.
He throws a lot of short passes in his early career. He's throwing more deep lately,
right?
But he can throw the deep ball. You know, that's
and wasn't it last year he threw for almost 5,000 yards, dude. They were 8-8. Anyway, we were trying to. Richard Outdoors World said, "Why? Basically, is Stafford coming to Carolina?" No, he's saying that facetiously, but we're trying to see how. Well, we kind of got on Stafford because we're talking about Dak Prescott and the similarities in some ways. But I would be. This is why. Dak, I don't think Dak's going to be a Cowboy because, look, the worst possible thing that could happen to a guy whose franchise tag happened to him, a major injury that then, yes, he got his $35 million. Yes, he's going to be on a team next year, but he's not going to sign the $200 million contract that other guys are signing right now.
No.
And I think it's one of those deals too, where I think he'll take less money with another team because he's got to, but not with Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they could franchise him. But I don't know if that's even a good idea if there are really question marks about his health.
One of my favorite sayings of all time is don't believe someone when they tell you who they are. Believe somebody when they show you who they are. And the Dallas Cowboys have, through their actions, shown what they think of Dak Prescott.
Exactly.
By continuously kicking this can down the road of not extending him. Now we're going to do a franchise tag. Oh, we love Dak. We're going to pay him. Oh, then he gets hurt and they love him even more and they're going to pay him even more. And then now they're talking about the franchise tag. Like, bro, that team, they are not committed to Dak Prescott for the long haul. And by the way, that sucks for him because I really don't know, for as good as he has been, I don't know if he has ever had the film that warrants the kind of money that he's purported to ask for.
I agree.
Well, you know what? Now he doesn't.
For sure.
He was on the pace for a moment where it looked like, okay, he's finally doing it with nobody, and him and Amari are doing their business. Shame game time. 57 people watching, 38 thumbs up. Come on, smash the thumbs up button if you're
thumbs
on
up.
Facebook. Do the same, and you know what? It doesn't cost you no money to hit the share. It won't cost you no money to share the podcast. These are all free events. All right, last two calls tonight.
Hey guys, it's Chuck from Elizabeth City calling.
What's up, Chuck?
I think the Super Bowl did teach us one thing: how important people in the trenches are. Tampa Bay's great defensive line. They actually had some protection this year with their offensive line that looked pretty good. Kansas City, their coaching job in the Super Bowl kind of reminded me of what Rivera and Shula were doing in our Super Bowl. They didn't adjust. You going into that, taking Mike Remmers, who was our right tackle in the Super Bowl, making him your left tackle. It's a shame that they lost Fisher and Schwartz. I think it'd have been a different game. But at the same time, their line was shredded. And it goes to show, it doesn't matter how bad we want a quarterback. If we can't protect him, guys, we're wasting our time. We've got to address the offensive line. And I say we've got to at least spend 3 picks, a tackle and a guard in the center, or a tackle and 2 guards. But we've got to re-sign Moten, get these picks, try to pick up some extra picks, pick up someone in the secondary, if not 2 people, a safety and a corner. maybe find a linebacker. But we've got to do what we can. The quarterback position can wait. As bad as I hate it, I don't want Wentz in Charlotte. I don't want some of these other people being thrown around Trubisky. I don't want to trade up to get the third or fourth best quarterback in this draft when we might be able to get the first or second best offensive tackle who can be an anchor for 10 years or more. Or we
Then
can
you
get
have
the
no
best
quarterback.
who can be an anchor for
Well, then
7
that's
or
when
10
you
years.
get them.
So we got to play it smart. You know, you
Bird in
can't
hand.
always get what you want.
Bird in hand.
And sometimes a player will fall in your lap. Fall right in your lap. It doesn't have to be in the top 2 or 3 picks. So let's build this team a different way and try to do it the right way and take our time. I know it sucks going through Bridgewater like we've got him, but we're only committed to the guy for 1 more year. Unless we can get somebody to take it on, we're just going to have to eat him for 1 year and go with it, and then we can let him go next year, and hopefully our luck will change for a quarterback.
I think we all agree here. We're just saying it in different ways a little bit. And what I mean by that is, look, is nobody in this is so I teach, right? So I do for a living. And the thing that's real popular and has become very popular is teachers adopting what they call open educational resources. Like they're free textbooks. They're written by professors and professionals, but it's like what the internet has done. It's like open sourced textbooks, and they're putting textbook companies out of business. It's awesome. And like, but to celebrate us as professors who adopt them is a little ridiculous at this point. Maybe 5 years ago when they were new, but it's like unthinking, right? Like, is that if I can give my students a class that is comparable and save them $100, like it's a non-decision, right? So if we can get a quarterback and we believe he's the guy, it's a non-decision.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but the problem is when you start to, like he said, force the issue. And so it's one thing if the Panthers pass on an opportunity or refuse to see an opportunity, but it's just as bad to force it in a different direction.
Right.
And I think this is just while we saw how important the trenches are. We also saw how important luck is. And well, you know, is that part making it through the season with a healthy team is lucky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Panthers did the 2015 year. We did it. Like everybody was healthy throughout the whole season outside of Kelvin Benjamin. And that turned out to be,
I think it
a
helped.
blessing for Cam. But we had remember, they played the whole seasons. Our lines played the whole season. We did have one injury on the defensive line that then turned out to be another blessing where we went and got Jared Allen and he started to contribute. But it was like to win a Super Bowl, everything has to go right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to have the quarterback.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And so I think this is that look is that and we all knew the Bucs, you ain't gonna run the ball on them.
Yeah.
I think that shows you actually if you can make maybe the talk has been too much focused on some people say running's obsolete. Doesn't matter, whatever. Like it's better to have a passing game. I tell you one thing is if you can make a team one-dimensional, that's the key. Is it doesn't matter if they can't run or like if they can only do one thing, then they suck, right? And that like the Chiefs knew they couldn't even try to establish the run. Like there was no chance for them to even try. So that's why then they had to throw it every time, and then they couldn't even protect Patrick Mahomes. But that was so. Those I won't say those poor guys, but they ran into so many injuries on that offensive line late in the season, and they've had a good offensive line with Schwartz and the other guy that isn't he their left tackle or whatever. And Remmers is just showed up there. It's not like they built their team around Mike Remmers.
Yeah, no. And before the year, one of their starting guards, Duvernay Tardif. He's like a doctor guy. He opted out the season to help people in Canada with COVID stuff. So, that was one of their starting guards. Like, that's important,
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of people are starting to sound similar to Chuck and voice those same kind of criticisms that, hey, you just have to, take the player that's there. But I think Chuck is also hesitant to want to trade up for a quarterback because he's looking at it as, which many other Panther fans are too, is that we're just settling for the next best thing at quarterback. Like, it's not the dude. We're just drafting some guy. Well, Chuck, what I'm here to tell you is that I really do think there are 4 of them that have real potential and traits to be a franchise quarterback. Now,
I think 2 of them are reaches, dude.
Maybe a lot of people thought.
Like, I know that you think. I know.
Justin Herbert, he was a reach too. Justin Herbert, a lot of people.
I don't think Justin Herbert was a reach.
Dude, if you listen to all of the,
I don't think he was a reach.
Daniel Jeremiah had him going like 19th in his mock draft. Like, there was a whole bunch of them. Like, they thought that the dude, even the PFF guys, didn't like Justin Herbert for all of their infinite numbers and brain powers. They couldn't predict his success. So, there's a boom bust factor to all these guys. But this is my final thing on what I always say about this. Guys, we can walk and chew bubble gum. We have more than one pick. We don't have to.
I agree. Yeah, that's why I say I think we're saying very similar things, just
I'm more
in sort
talking
of
to
different
Chuck.
ways.
I
think he's concerned about this is selling out because you got to. Yeah. And it's the Chicago picking whatever, or where they got Trubisky, or
they
it's like
because they're idiots. They could have got somebody.
Yeah,
else.
You're right. Bortles or whatever it is. And you just want them to make it. I want a franchise that does it because they believe it. So if they trade up,
100%.
if they trade up for Zach Wilson, if they trade up for Trey Lance, if they trade up for whoever the fuck they trade up, I just want them to believe that they know that this is like they have confidence. I don't want it to be a Tua incident all over.
I agree.
Right. Or Josh Rosen or whatever. And I also want them to do this is if they pick a quarterback at 8 or whatever we're at, because they believe it's the right pick. I also don't want them to pick another guy because they're afraid to have moxie. Like, I just want them to believe in the real direction that they're heading. And so if they believe that the time is now, I don't want them to wuss it. I'm a little worried, though, that we are getting too anxious as an organization at the top. And I think that us shopping for Stafford, because I'm not gonna sit here and defend Stafford, but I don't want that. I didn't want that to happen.
We overplayed our hand. People know what we want to do. They know that we're even looking to get rid of Bridgewater.
I just don't even think that was a good fit overall for us. But I think we're so fearful of having no quarterback that now we just want to run one.
Yeah.
Very true.
And when I say we, I don't mean on this show. I mean David Tepper.
Yeah. Tepper, Faber, Rule. Yeah.
Because they know they have to start the franchise off with that. They have to establish a good quarterback to be successful.
And I just don't want to. And I think that's where Chuck's really coming from is do it because you think you should, not because you feel like you have to.
Yeah. And by the way,
and what do you think about Darnold? And the reason I bring up his name is because Matt Rule was interested in taking the job with the Jets, knowing that Darnold was the QB at the time. Right? Like he interviewed all of that. They were about to hire him supposedly, and he said, "I wanted."
That was the Giants, wasn't it? It wasn't the Jets.
No, this was the year before.
Oh, the year before.
And he wanted full control over his staff and everything, and they said we can't deal with somebody who's this.
So wasn't that his rookie year too? The quarterback's rookie year, so he wouldn't have known that he was garbage yet.
So is this Darnold's second year? I thought it was his third.
This coming up would be his third year, right?
No, this coming up will be his fourth.
His fourth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm wrong then. Okay.
He was drafted the same time as Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen.
It's about to be Baker Mayfield's 4th year.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4th year. Yeah.
And Josh Allen. Yeah.
Wow.
And by the way, I don't believe in Baker.
I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's ever going to be an elite quarterback.
I know. I think he's a Teddy Bridgewater.
He can win a title. I think he's better than Teddy Bridgewater.
No, yeah, I do too. I think he's like.
Yeah. I think he can swing a baseball bat better than.
Definitely.
He's definitely got an acting career ahead of him.
I love his commercials. Yeah, I like the commercials.
His arm talent is much better than Ted. To me, he's
it's not great. But it's not.
He's like a Ryan Fitzpatrick or a Case Keenum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yuck, and yuck. Last call.
Hey, what's up, C3 Podcast? It's Run DMC Lovato.
What up, Tyler?
I got to call out Panthers Buzz FSU 23, formerly known as Panthers Fan FSU 23.
Ooh.
We had a bet a year ago that the Panthers would. He said the Panthers would win more than 8 games, and I took that bet for $20. The loser had to pay the money to C3 Podcast, $20, and he keeps dodging me in the chat. So I need you guys to call out Panthers Buzz FSU 23. It's time to pay up $20 to the C3 Podcast. The Panthers did not win 8 games, sir.
Oh, and he was a Teddy fan.
Yeah, he was.
$20. All right, be a man of your word.
I say,
That's all I gotta say.
Pay
Run
the
DMC
man.
out.
Pay the man. Thanks, Ron.
He's trying to get him to pay us. He said that he had
I
to
know.
pay
That's
us.
what I'm saying. Pay the man. We the man.
Pay the man.
We'll put it towards that cameo appearance and the StreamYard, which I got to figure out. Like, this is the worst. Dude, I tell you, this is I should save this for my ice up pick, but my wife will spend $1 bazillion. She be spending money like CK. I see CK. CK be spending money. No, she was spending, and then I buy something. I bought a new hat off eBay, and I bought a new pair of kicks. And like I ain't bought, and I can make my Air Maxes last a minute. I can make these hats last, right? And so I spent, and she's like, see, you spend money too. I'm like, good God. So I am trying to, I'm going to sneak the cameo in there. And now I'm sneaking this. I got to figure out how to sneak the StreamYard in there. And I got to figure out how to get out of debt. That's the other damn thing. Good God. And the worst, anyway, if you saw my life, it's awesome. Except Mr. B Love or whatever. I got good credit, homie. Guess who ain't called me up?
Izzle.
That's right. He ain't called me.
That's right.
Okay. I don't think. Oh, I did want to bring up this before we go. Did you see all the chatter from Panther fans? Not from Panther fans, from Panther players. I know that Trey Boston was chatty on, but I felt like a lot of them were like, man, it's really great for a team to have a quarterback. It was not the only, and they weren't really going at, but like Jonathan Stewart would be like, these guys are great. They got their quarterback. If you say they got their quarterback,
it means your team doesn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of it this way, Tony. Think about the last 3 years. So we're saying we've been in a drought when Gene was on here. Think about the guys like Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. Like the guys that have been on this team who have seen the talent that we have just flush down the toilet over a combination of poor coaching decisions and hobbled quarterbacks. Either a hurt Cam Newton or an inept Kyle Allen or a fucking basic ass bitch water, man. Like it's just it's been tough, man. I imagine that these players are probably like, we're fans and we're frustrated, right?
Yep.
But imagine you're going out there doing putting your body on the line, going through practice.
Ask
doing
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Ask Deshaun Watson. And I do like that. I like that players are starting to recognize.
Yeah.
I think if anything, Watson is going, you know what? I'm looking around the league and I just don't want to be Cam Newton.
Blake
Yeah,
Madden says he has
very well
another
could be.
call that
Here,
came
I
in.
got it right here, and I must have played them out of order. And this is the one I was wanting to listen to.
Tony.
Is this the one I played?
That's the one you played, I believe.
That's the one I played. Okay.
Let me tell you something, Tony. If you don't give me an update.
Yep. All right. Hold on. Here it is.
He said 6-4-3-6.
I got it. Hang on. I did play them in order. I just missed the second one because I was laughing so hard at that one.
Tony, I'm sure you're wondering who that last call was from. What it do? It's your boy Blake B.
What up, Blake?
That's right, Tony. I told you I'm coming at you with the fettuccine noodle if you don't give us an update on that Steve Smith cameo. So I just want to say who it was. I'm going to take credit for all that hard work of statistics I put together. And yes, I have been drinking. So, by the way, hit that thumbs up button, Panther.
Amen.
Let's go. Let's go.
Amen. Wow. Oh,
Jason Lewis says he needs his call played.
Where is all these people coming out? I gotta hit refresh.
You really are the professor. All your students are cramming at the last second, trying to get stuff in.
I wanted to. What were the last 4 digits on it?
4398.
4398. The one thing is, I saw that Shaked had blocked homie from. I didn't even see Jason's calls. I must have known. He blocked the WFNZ guy. And I was wondering what happened. Like, why did Shaked because first of all, the guy that he blocked is the one that's like nice to everybody. That's kind of quirky.
Mm-hmm.
Not T-Bone.
Yeah, he's nice to every quirky person. Yeah, T-Bone. And suppose something happened, but Shaked to me, he's the one that sings the songs. He does ram stuff sometimes. But my favorite thing I saw on Twitter over Christmas is somebody gave somebody else. Like, so somebody just got a gift in the mail and somebody took Shaked's picture and put it on a coffee mug. I was like, that is the awesomest gift. All right, here we go. Let's get these calls out.
What's good, fellas? It's Jason from Colorado. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Deshaun Watson trade proposition. After seeing the price that Matt Stafford went for, I think it was 2 first rounds and a second round, if I'm not mistaken. I saw somewhere, and I know you can't put too much value on tweets coming from journalists that say they have the inside scoop, but allegedly the asking price for Deshaun was going to be something like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 young defensive starters, which that's a pretty tall price to pay, but one that, I mean, if you're locking down the guy, I think that's every bit worth the investment. As far as potential defensive starters, I think that number one on the trade block ought to be Dante Jackson. I think that he is good enough to be a starter on a lot of teams, and he's young, but I have questions about his mental maturity and his ability to hold up to pressure and to take criticism well. There's just some maturity questions with him.
I got it.
Another potential.
I'm off my game right here. I'm sweating. It's hot under these lights.
It's the end of the show.
It's Colorado. I was watching Blindside, that movie with Sandra Bullock about Michael Orr, and it kind of made me think about some stuff going into into free agency and the draft. In the movie, she's kind of explaining the importance of the left tackle position. And she says that, it's really important for the left tackle because they guard the quarterback's blind side. But now that I was thinking about that, that's really only true when you have a right-handed quarterback.
Yep.
And when we were, the conversation came up, people talking about whether or not we should trade for Tua. And I just wanted to throw out there that we have the best right tackle in the NFL. And so really that kind of shifts the value on that position to the right side of the line. So that potentially could be a really smart move for the Panthers. But I don't know. I can't really speak to his leadership or his, those X factors that you look for in that position. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I also saw that Orlando Brown in Baltimore who was playing right tackle.
Oh, yeah.
He's a Pro Bowler at right tackle, but he, like all right tackles, wants to make that left tackle money. He wants to play at left tackle. But that could mean that you potentially could get a really good player for market value, maybe even a little bit less than market value at a really important position. So really, those are some of the big things. Watching the Super Bowl over the weekend, it really, I don't know if anybody else had this, but it made me think of the 2015 Super Bowl, where you had the number one offense in the league coming in. This year it was Kansas City. Back then it was Carolina. And the offensive line just fell apart around them. And so, Pat Mahomes was running for his life all night long, and they just couldn't get it done. I heard that was the first game in Mahomes' entire career where he didn't throw a touchdown. So it really just honestly, it made me feel I had a lot of bad reminiscence, especially seeing Mike Remmers get beat like a drum. So I was wondering if anybody else kind of had those same vibes. But anyways, keep pounding y'all. Oh, and last time when I did my little Panther roar, I always give Joey a shout out. And then the one time I don't, he starts accusing me of stealing his roar. So I guess I won't do that anymore. But keep pounding.
I don't know what to think about the left tackle, right tackle thing anymore. In some ways, I just feel like the only reason the left tackle is more important is because the guys are right-handed. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason, because he's right, is that if you're left-handed, all of a sudden a right tackle, but you're going to then you got to have a right tackle who's really athletic in a way. But I think it really doesn't matter. If you got a weak link on the line, you attack it. So, like, if Remmers is on the right side, you line up Von Miller against him. If he's on the left side, so even if our right then they're just going to put this awesome guy on the other side.
And by the way, so many of the best pass rushers move now. They don't just go.
It's about opportunity. It's about confusing looks. It's about taking advantage of weaknesses. All of that.
But also, imagine that you're like us, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champions, are our division rivals. We have to play them 2 times a year, and they have Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul on both ends. Like, which one do you respect more? You're gonna have to have a competent left and right tackle. So, if you look at Taylor Moton, I mean, he would have to go up against Shaq Barrett, and if you look at all of the numbers that Taylor Moton did this year and the little amount of pressures that he gave up, even when he went against some of the best pass rushers in the NFL, Taylor Moton, that's the only constant for us that all Panther Nation agrees on. No matter who we draft number 1, no matter what we do going forward, no matter who we sign in free agency, Taylor Moton is incredibly important to our future, and we have him here, and I don't want to see him walk out the door and flourish somewhere else.
It would be silly. It's kind of one of those things. It's silly when you have a good player and you have a need, and you don't do it. That would be the weirdest thing. I would be more is that unless there's just some sort of lingering if there's some unknown injury. Maybe, but other than that, you got to ink this dude. He's young.
Mm-hmm.
We need an offensive line, and you can't get good by not getting players.
That's right.
You just got to have players. You can't, and we've seen what happens. You can only get so good. Got to build the trenches. And if you were going to take that deal for Watson, who's where you give the 2 1s, the 2 2s, and the 2 players?
Mm-hmm.
Who is more? Who would is Brian Burns or Jeremy Chin?
No,
one of those?
We talked about that last week. Remember, we had the 3, and Brian Burns and Jeremy Chin weren't in any of them. It was
but
I think Burns is closer to his contract. I think that I would try to hang on to Chin, but I would really rather just give up
Over Burns? Who would you rather have, Burns or Chin? I know that's kind of tough, but
that's a really tough one.
Really tough.
Really?
And no, not really, but only because he's on the rookie deal. Like he's got
but he was third round, wasn't he? So
I don't want Burns if we're not going to pay him, and he's not going to be. You know what I'm saying?
It goes back to this, that positional value thing. Is a safety as important as a fucking burner pass rusher? Like, to me.
Oh, I know. Oh, no, I don't want to. No, by no means. I'm just saying I wouldn't want either. I'd be looking on the others. Neither of those players, like Jason Lewis said.
Those are the foundation of our defense.
They said players, not all-stars. I'm talking about you can have Shaq Thompson.
K1 Short.
Yeah. All right. Look, that's the show.
Whatever.
Well, I got 3 trivia questions if y'all want.
Yes. Oh, yes. I want to do the trivia.
Cool. Okay. Hey, as opposed to the last time, use your name as the buzzer because we were just calling out answers last time. It's hard for me to keep score that way. just call out the name. I'd focused heavy on the draft this week. So 3 draft questions. All right. Number 1. How many Panthers running backs have been drafted in the first round and who are they?
Tony. D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and the Michigan guy with the crazy last name. He won the Heisman Trophy, and I have his jersey. Tim Biakabatuka. 3. And 4, Christian McCaffrey.
There you go. Got the 4.
Damn, see, I knew McCaffrey, I knew Williams, and I knew Jonathan Stewart, but the other one I knew that was gonna fuck me up. So
Youngin.
Yeah.
All right. So Tony got that one. All right. So number 2, how many times were the Panthers picked in the top 10?
Cody.
I'll
say in 25, 26 years, I'll say we've had 6 top 10 picks.
No.
More,
yes.
Oh, well, I'm out.
Do we get like half a point since somebody's guessed?
I'm
gonna say 9 times.
Okay, I'll say no, and we'll say less. So we'll make it even easier for CK.
It's either 7 or 8.
CK, this is the easiest in the world.
Less.
Wait, what?
You got to say 7 or 8. Pick one.
8.
All right.
It is 8. Yes. 95 Collins, 96 Bianca Patuca, 2002 Julius Peppers, 2003 Jordan Gross, 2011 Cam, 2012 Luke, 2017 CMC, and 2020 Derek Brown are all our top 10 picks.
Oh, Derek Brown too.
That's only one real bust out of those. Bianca Patuca wasn't really, but all right. And last question: which college have the Panthers drafted the most players from all time? It's a tie between 3, so any 3 will work.
Cody. I'll say Michigan.
No.
Tony.
USC. No.
Georgia.
Georgia is.
Oh, that was it. What were we thinking?
6 players from Auburn, Georgia, and Stanford, and then 5 from Colorado, LSU, Miami, Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, a bunch of different teams to 5, but 6 for those 3.
I just remember Georgia because I remember something about that with Thomas Davis. Yeah.
Charles Johnson. I don't know who else. Somebody else. All right. Well, look, I think we all got one.
Yeah, got up.
Nope, I didn't. I'm retarded.
You were just being praised as the smartest person in the world.
I know, dude.
So much for whatever that caller had to say.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Greg, for the trivia. Please bring that with you next week. That was fun. And let's jump in and get some ice up picks. And I'll go first. Mine's kind of the low hanging fruit. of the week, and it is for the Washington Post headline on Marty Schottenheimer. They put a headline out that said, hold on, what is the headline said something to the effect of coach, where is it? They took it down, which is here it is. I got a screenshot. The Will Brinson, he screenshot it. Marty Schottenheimer, NFL coach whose teams wilted in the postseason, dies at 77. That was the Washington Post headline for a person who is had a 14-2 season in San Diego, who has been a coach around the league. His sons have been an important part of the league. And this guy tries to do a wordplay by saying wilting, he died, and wilted. Dude, come on, man. Have a little class. And
Washington Post sucks.
Well, I don't even know anymore, because anytime you put a paywall up, homie, I don't know. Actually, I have to log in because I have a school account. Like, I can get anything, but I'm like, oh, do I really want to go log in on the computer to read this? But no. All right, so Washington Post, ice up.
Ice up. That's a good one.
I have a good one.
Good.
I'm going to go ahead and ice up a reporter for the Carolina Panthers beat that we all hate, and we absolutely.
Oh yeah, good one.
Yeah, we have all for the longest time really tried to understand how this reporter is still reporting for the Carolina Panthers for ESPN, and that is David Newton. He decided. Now, granted, this is two sides to this coin. He decided to take what CMC was saying in some interviews before the Super Bowl and twist his words up into saying that he basically saying that he didn't support Teddy Bridgewater being the starting quarterback next year. It wasn't in as many words, but basically saying like it's far from his praises that he was singing earlier in the season or after the season was over or whatever. And basically CMC came in, tweeted, and said, don't put words in my mouth to make your own headlines. He said, I said multiple times that, he deserves praise. Again, whether or not that part is true or that part, I don't, we can agree or disagree. There are certain things about that we can talk about. But the fact that David Newton has already pissed off the only marketable player that we have as considered a superstar on a national level is if he's not gone before the new season begins this go round, ESPN really does not give a shit about Charlotte media.
I put up the tweet if you want to show it, Tony, the Christian McCaffrey tweet.
Yeah, I remember you saying this. It's crazy.
The tweet was Christian McCaffrey is on First Take, asked about quarterback situation, and Teddy Bridgewater didn't show any support of Bridgewater like he did right after the season. Christian McCaffrey's response: I was asked about my reaction to rumors, not about Teddy. The question was not about Teddy specifically, so I didn't mention his name. I did 8 interviews today, and every time I was asked about Teddy, I praised him because he deserves praise, not about his baseball swing. He did right there. Don't speak for me to make a story. I think I actually think that the reason David Newton is not going to be removed from ESPN is because, one, he's not a good enough journalist to give a promotion to, and B, or two, is that he's actually doing exactly what they want him to do, which is write clickbait, write the easy, low hang. Like, that's what people were always talking about him. And the other reason I think we're going to have David Newton forever. Like, I don't think he'll die. Like, I think he'll live in eternity. I think he will always be our beat reporter. And I blame this on Jerry Richardson, the sins of the father are going to live with us for generations. He's our penance. He is our penance.
I just love how you've given him eternal life at this point.
David Newton. I will say this though, is that he in the press conference, like on those Zoom pressers, he'll come on right in there and be like, "So I know you won't talk about Teddy Bridgewater specifically, but tell me, are there other quarterbacks?" No, it was the Deshaun Watson. He said, "I know you won't name players specifically, but is there a guy in Houston that you're interested in?" And they were like, "Oh, David." All right. Ice up, David. Who's next?
I got one. You want to share a video?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let's see if
I got a video to share too when you're done.
Nice.
Everybody's just sharing, man.
I know.
Sharon is Sharon.
Here you go. Check this out.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Dude, Greg, I swear to God, I have that video up. And I was ready to play it.
All right, cool. We'll do a double ice up pick here then. Let me play this video. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Oh no. Can't hear it?
Can you share the sound? You should be able to just share the if you have audio on your computer, it should come through.
Oh, you know
Cody,
what?
see if you can put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the same one. Let me stop real quick.
All right.
Dude, this mess is awesome.
It's hilarious.
Did you guys like the Super Bowl, this shows and stuff? I thought the
The
Wayne's World
halftime show
commercial
was definitely less than extraordinary.
Really? I liked it.
Yeah.
Right,
I stopped
y'all
watching the
hear
whole
this?
thing at halftime.
So this is
No, I can't hear it.
Oh, this is her doing it?
No, I think she's trying to treat it.
No,
Here, let
she
me-
has.
I
All
can get
right,
it. I can get it. I can get it.
she has already put the Gorilla Glue in her hair. So if you don't know, this woman's name is
Tessa Brown. Tessica Brown.
Yeah, Tessica Brown, and she put Gorilla Glue in her hair to like treat her hair like it was going to be like, you know, like normal hair chemical or whatever. But look, she put all of that shit in her hair.
Is it 59 seconds? How long is it?
Yeah, it's like 59 seconds. No one can get this shit out of her hair. No one can get it out of her hair. No
It's been
matter
a
what
month.
she does. Yeah, it's been wait, how long you said?
It's been a month, but I'll tell you, while Tony pulls the video up, that's not why I'm icing. I mean, I'm icing her up because it's stupid. Do you know she's now trying to sue Gorilla Glue because it does not say do not put in your hair. It says don't eat, don't put in your eyes, don't put in your skin, but it doesn't say don't put in your hair. And now she's trying to sue Gorilla Glue.
All right. Let me see if I can do it now. Can y'all hear this?
Hey y'all, for those of y'all that know me know my hair has been like this for about a month now. It's not by choice. No, it's not by choice. When I do my hair, I like to, finish it off with the little Got to Be glue spray, just to keep it in place. Well, I didn't have any more Got to Be glue spray, so I used this Gorilla Glue spray. Bad idea. Yo, look, my hair, it don't move. You hear what I'm telling you? It don't move. I've washed my hair 15 times and it don't move. Stiff wear. Woo! My hair. So I'm gonna tell y'all like this. If you ever run out of Got to Be glue spray, don't ever use this unless you want your hair to be like that.
And look,
Hey,
she is never going to be able
I didn't even know Gorilla Glue made a solvent spray.
Well, yeah, I didn't either. She is never going to be able to sue Gorilla Glue after making a video like that, where she is admittedly talking about how stupid it was for her to do it and advising other people not to do it. Now you're going to try to sue the company for it? Come on.
Hey, your hair looks good as shit, though.
Yeah, it'll stays real good. Yeah.
You might need to glue that ponytail in because it's going to fall out before that other mess does.
Well, no, they just posted a video or a picture of it about 5 hours ago. She was able to cut the ponytail off.
See, look, I have a picture of it. So I just shared this. That's her at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're trying to get the shit out of her hair, and they can't. Like they said that the doctors, like they would try and put this solvent in her hair, and all it did was burn her scalp. And it's
gonna burn your scalp, bro. They're gonna have to, because that stuff has to be taken off with basically goof off.
Well, and
which you're supposed to wear gloves with.
And
the
the shit that was in her hair. Oh,
maybe they can get under it there. Maybe they can get under it there. Oh, damn.
So what, is her head just ruined for the rest of her fucking life?
No. You guys got to keep that in mind.
Because she ain't got no brain.
She's going to secrete oil from underneath. That's why, I think she'll be fine. I mean, it's just going to take, she's going to have to deal with this for a long fucking time. But like our hair naturally secretes oil and our skin does as well. It'll eventually, like, it's sort of like putting super glue in your hand. It's not going to stay there forever. It'll eventually peel off pretty easily through time, but it's going to take a minute. She's going to be fucking in pain for a while.
Some plastic surgeon in California has donated $12,000 and his time and his slur solvent. That sounds gross.
It does.
What's your slur solvent? It's when I give you a roofie and then we're all slurring and glue. Good God. Cody, what do you think about this? Because this is your ice up too.
I think literally Greg took my exact angle, my exact everything. Listen, if I take Frank's Red Hot sauce and pour that shit in my eye because I think, oh hey, this will do the same thing that Visine does. And if I fucking go blind for that shit, I'm dumb enough to have put it in my eyes. I don't then get to sue them because I was the dumbass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
don't worry. Yeah, this ain't gonna. I think those. I was listening to something that said that only less than 2% of lawsuits have a payout that is higher than people think it should be.
Yeah. That probably makes sense. You only hear about the really big ones.
Yeah. Well, at first they're almost like urban legend at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And second, that they, if you know what, if a company is really in trouble, guess where they pay? They don't go to court.
No, they settle out of court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, this girl is, but you know what? This shows you, man, there's a lot of dumbasses out there.
Right?
Super stupid.
I guess she didn't know that Gorilla Glue, like, she was like, man, those commercials are bullshit. Where they like glue a car,
like an extra strength shampoo. It'll work.
Yeah, she's like, oh, whatever. This is just glue. It's just Elmer's. This looks like Elmer's glue.
Robert A says she has more than 17,000 in GoFundMe.
Yeah, people feel sorry for her. Like, I mean, I don't even, you know what? If you want to give your money to her, like, you know what? She could use it.
But like, my thing is this: did she just like not? Okay, did she say I'm gonna try and put this glue in my hair, or did she just not know that it was glue?
No, she knew it was glue, but she also said my hairspray is also called glue, so they must be the same thing.
Well, she said she ran out of her glue. That was a spray,
but
so
it had a glue in the name.
Glue in it. She's like, well, we gotta use it. Yeah.
I had a gel that I called "Got to Be Glued," but I'm pretty sure I would have never just went and got super glue and put that in my hair. So
just wash my hair with toothpaste. They're both gels, right? You know,
I mean, hair lessons from the bald guy.
Yeah,
I mean, like it's like worse than having concrete in your hair.
Yeah.
Like if you can't dip your whole body in concrete and you dry. If you just had your head, it would be like the same thing.
I'll tell you, when I was younger, I had an experience somewhat like this. I'm not gonna lie. Like me and my stepdad, we used to build airplanes, like actual ultralight airplanes you'd fly in, and we were building one when I was younger. And you get on the inside and you got to put varnish on the inside of the wood and everything. And when I was younger, I got varnish all in my hair, and it felt like my head was just a plastic cap. But all I had to do was wash my head in mineral spirits, or wash my hair in mineral spirits, and it clears out. But I just thought about that. It was like it's like a helmet on your head. I can't imagine having that for a month. That'd be insane.
Oh, God bless these people. All right, it's the C3 Panthers Podcast, 252-228-5098. We got everybody's ice up picks in. The GoFundMe account for Steve Smith's cameo is available and open. And other than that, we just like, a share, a subscribe, a call, a tweet, whatever you got. And we'll be back next Tuesday.
Peace and love.
Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Oh, I didn't even